Chapter 193 Thriller. Chapter 193 Thriller. In the Blackstone Wood. He-Ching Man abruptly opened her eyes. After looking around carefully, she asked, "What did you say?" "I think we are surrounded by the demon dwellers from the Black Scale tribe." Shi Yen stood up with a rigid face. "At least 30 of them, just 300 meters away from us. 4 of them are at Earth Realm." "Are you kidding?" He-Ching Man frowned and couldn't believe it. At the same time, she released her spirit power and extended it to 300 meters away. Where her spirit power swept, there was no sign of life or life force at all. He-Ching Man was a little depressed. As she grunted and stared at Shi Yen, "There's nothing at all." "You are playing a joke on me, aren't you?" Shi Yen was surprised and then began to sense the surroundings with the soul-gathering pearl again. After an acute observation, he found that the 30 demon dwellers from the Black Scale tribe didn't disappear, but were approaching them gradually. Narrowing his eyes, Shi Yen soon realized that He-Ching Man's spirit power couldn't sense the demon dwellers from the Black Scale tribe. At night, the Black Scale tribe would hide themselves and weaken their soul intensity. Although He-Ching Man was at Earth Realm, she had no soul-gathering pearl, so she couldn't sense the demon dwellers. "They are slowly coming near us," Shi Yen said seriously. "Even though you can't sense them, doesn't mean they don't exist." "Whatever." He-Ching Man was impatient as she closed her eyes and stayed still. She was at Earth Realm, so she believed that her spirit power was more acute than Shi Yen's. How could Shi Yen sense the demon dwellers if she couldn't? He-Ching Man didn't take it seriously as she thought Shi Yen was joking. Shi Yen looked serious as he took a deep breath and walked to the Wind Thunder Lion slowly. He-Ching Man closed her eyes and she could still feel Shi Yen's movement. But she didn't care at all as she complained secretly about the Yang family sending Shi Yen here. Boom! Suddenly, Shi Yen struck his fist on the Wind Thunder Lion, making the lion irritated, and it stood up at once. "Oh!" The Wind Thunder Lion bellowed, with wrath billowing in his eyes. "Are you crazy?" He-Ching Man yelled and dashed up. Her angry eyes stared at Shi Yen. "What's your problem? Why irritate the Wind Thunder Lion? Tired of living in this world? Go." Shi Yen suddenly wrapped He-Ching Man in his arms and jumped to the Wind Thunder Lion. "Release." He-Ching Man flew into a rage as a stream of intense energy bursted out from her body. Under the energy, Shi Yen felt as if he was carrying a booming balloon. Before he could operate his petrification martial spirit, he was pushed back a few steps by He-Ching Man, which made the lion bellow a lot. Although He-Ching Man got rid of him, she was still rather angry. "Shi Yen, do you think that I wouldn't dare hurt you?" "Go. Quick!" Shi Yen shouted, raised his right hand, and pushed out 7 handprints. Bang, bang. The seal of life struck the dark region on their left in waves. The dark region was twisted and blasted. Suddenly, several dark shadows of human figures showed up in the darkness. The Black Scale tribe. Those people were covered with black scales, about 3 meters tall, strong, and were releasing malicious smell. There were 6 of them, with ferocious look in their dark green eyes. Their camouflage was disrupted by the seal from the darkness, causing them to dash toward Shi Yen quickly. "Ah!" He-Ching Man yelled in surprise, and then gazed at the 6 flying demon dwellers coming near. Excitedly, she said, "There are demon dwellers! Ha, too good! Now, we don't need to look for them. Go," Shi Yen demanded. "There are not only these 6. There are more that are approaching. We can't get away if we don't leave now." He-Ching Man was astonished. "Thunder, let's go." She paused for a second, and then kicked the Wind Thunder Lion, who had become anxious. The Wind Thunder Lion flew up into the sky at once. Sitting on the Wind Thunder Lion, He-Ching Man looked down to watch the Blackstone Wood and found some disruption in the dark area. She didn't know how many demon dwellers from the Black Scale tribe were hiding there in the darkness. He Ching Man gazed down for a while, and still felt nervous at what happened just now. If Shi Yan hadn't found the demon dwellers and driven the lion to carry them away, they might have been caught by the Black Scale tribe. Although the Wind Thunder Lion was a level 6 demon beast, if it was surrounded by the experts from the Black Scale tribe, it couldn't defend against them at all. Those demon dwellers dared to approach because they knew they could manage the lion. He Ching Man got frightened as she thought of this. After a long while, she looked to Shi Yan, who was beside her. How do you know they were approaching? Shi Yan looked unconcerned as he responded, He Ching Man, I have my own way. Can you still sense them next time? He Ching Man's eyes blinked. I can still sense them if they approach within 500 meters from me. Shi Yan nodded. They are adept at hiding themselves. Once they hide their life waves, normal people can hardly find them. I found them because I have a treasure to help me. Well, it must be quite a treasure. He Ching Man had presumed. Your sense won't be more acute without any treasure. Shi Yan didn't deny and nodded. Of course. From now on, you should be with me if there are battles with the demon dwellers. You don't need to fight, but use the treasure to locate them. He Ching Man thought for a while and suggested. After that, they got along better with each other. Okay. Sure, Yan said casually. Now please find where are they heading now. He Ching Man protruded her head to watch the black stone wood below and made the Wind Thunder Lion descend a little. Shi Yan put his spirit power into the soul, gathering pearl again, and closed his eyes to feel. Soon he opened his eyes and pointed to a black mountain peak. All the demon dwellers are moving towards there. Yeah, there. He Ching Man nodded. That mountain produces black copper. It's our goal tomorrow. Let's go there tomorrow. It's too late today. Don't take the risk. Shi Yan suggested. He Ching Man thought for a while. Don't mention what happened today to Lin Nan. Why? We came this time to clean the demon dwellers. Sheng Yidan, Peng Pei, Shi Yubai, and I will lead a group, respectively. This cleaning action is also a test of our ability. The one who has outstanding performance this time will be put in a high position. I'm competing with Shang Dani. I must win against her. He Ching Man explained. Shi Yan was surprised, then nodded. Okay. As the Wind Thunder Lion landed on the peak, Shi Yan found those people were taking a rest with their eyes closed. Shi Yubai was standing behind a black stone. He glanced at Shi Yan coldly, frowned, then closed his eyes again. Ching Man, did you find anything? Lin Nan smiled and asked casually. Nothing. He Ching Man replied with a smile. But we must be careful tomorrow. We may come across the demon dwellers in the cave. Yeah, they're very likely staying in the quarry. Ching Man, take a good rest, and we will set out tomorrow. Got it, Sister Nan. Next morning, Lin Nan began to urge the group in early morning. She asked He Ching Man, Sheng Dani, Peng Pei, and Shi Yubai to get prepared. He Ching Man and the other 3 were young experts in the evil wonderland, so each of them had 7 to 8 disaster realm warriors under them. Shi Yan, there are many crossroads in the cave, so we may separate when we get into the cave. Any group who finds anything will send messages, and the other 3 groups will join the first group. So which group do you want to join? Lin Nan asked. Brother, go with me. My team is stronger. You will be safe. Shi Yubai invited first. Sure, Yan shook his head with a smile. How about going with me? I will take care of you. Sheng Yidan pretended to be friendly, although she secretly hoped that Shi Yan would refuse the suggestion. We are old friends. Last night we decided that we will go together. He Ching Man said lightly. Shi Yan beamed. As you like. Lin Nan nodded and smiled at He Ching Man. Shi Yan is from the Yang family, so you should pay attention and don't let him get hurt. It will be tough if he get hurt and the Yang family decided to ask for compensation. Got it, Sister Nan? Well, let's go. Ah. Chapter 194. Now you are convinced. Chapter 194. Now you are convinced. A huge black hole was waiting for them to come, like a demon's mouth. Cold wind came from the cave that made everybody uncomfortable. They could vaguely hear some howls from the cave as if it was the provocation from the demon dwellers. Shi Yan, Lin Nan, and He Ching Man stood behind the cave and were observing the entrance of the cave carefully. Shi Yan secretly held the soul-gathering pearl, releasing his spirit power and then extending it. The cave was empty inside, with crossroads leading to all directions. As his spirit power extended, he could feel the smell of the demon dwellers from the Black Scale tribe, but not their exact position. The cave was so deep and many roads led to the bottom of the mountain. Even with the help of the soul-gathering pearl, Shi Yan could only detect that there were no demon dwellers in the region 500 meters around him. But he was quite sure that there are Black Scale tribe demon dwellers inside the cave. Well, let's get in. Be careful, everybody. Lin Nan stood for a while in front of the entrance and then said, "Take the sound stone when you get into the cave. Keep in touch." Lin Nan said to He Ching Man and Sheng Yidan. The four of them were holding a silver stone in their hands. The stones had small holes on them and could convey sounds within a certain distance. Got it. He Ching Man and others nodded in confidence. We are in. It was dark inside the cave, so they have to use light stones to see things. Crossing roads were everywhere in the cave. One could get easily lost in here. You four remember the road and your own positions. Lin Nan instructed. The first crossroads showed up. We should separate now. Sure, Yubai frowned. Sister Nan, we will go with this road. I will send messages through the sound stone if something happens. All right. Follow up. Sure, Yubai demanded and walked to the crossroad with her people. Lin Nan took the rest warriors and went on. Before long, another crossroads showed up. Sister Nan, our turn. He Ching Man smiled and said to Lin Nan, I will send you a message once I find something. Okay, off you go. Lin Nan nodded with a smile. Yidan is too cheeky, so I will go with her first. I will come to you once I get your message. He Ching Man nodded, glanced at the followers, and yelled, Follow me. Then He Ching Man stepped on the road. 7 Disaster Realm warriors followed her with rigid faces. Sure, Yen looked unconcerned and got into the cave as everybody had went into it. Sister Nan, if this guy dies here, will the Yang family be hard on us? Pun Pei asked when they lost sight of Shi Yan. Sheng Yidan seemed to care about it a lot as she asked, Sister Nan, this guy is not from the Yang family, but that Shurigard was accompanying him. Who on earth is he? He is merely at the Disaster Realm. If they met demon dwellers and He Ching Man didn't protect him, he will die for sure. None of your business. Lin Nan frowned. Ching Man is a reasonable person. But I guess Ching Man dislikes that guy. She may want to kill him by asking him to follow her. Pun Pei rubbed his head. Lin Nan was baffled as she paused and asked, No, Ching Man won't do that. Furthermore, the Yang family dared send him to the Blackstone Island. Then he must be something. You know Yang family members always do special things. If he is from the Yang family, then I can't look down upon him. Sheng Yidan shook her head, but the problem is his surname is Shi, not Yang. All right, leave him alone. It's not a big deal, even if he dies here. Lin Nan was unconcerned. Like you said, he is not from the Yang family. Right. Peng Pei nodded. Shi Yan, come to the head of the queue. He Ching Man requested from the front of the group. The road was so narrow that only 3 people could go through at the same time. He Ching Man was at the head of the group. 7 Disaster Realm warriors stood behind her in a row. Shi Yan was the last one. Since He Ching Man asked, Shi Yan couldn't stay behind anymore. "Excuse me." Shi Yan frowned and pushed his way forward. 7 evil Wonderland warriors blocked the way before him, and they were not willing to make room for Shi Yan to get through. He Ching Man was keep her eyes forward, so she didn't know what was happening behind her. The 7 warriors looked back at Shi Yan with weird smiles. The 2 warriors in front of him stood shoulder by shoulder, leaving little space between them. Obviously, the 2 didn't want Shi Yan to go through. Shi Yan stood still in front of the 2 persons and said calmly, "Excuse me. The road's too narrow, and we've already made room for you. You have to push if you still want to proceed." One of them giggled. "Well, I will push then." Shi Yan beamed. Boom! The dull sound of someone crashing came from the road. Kaka! Sounds of bones breaking came too. Shi Yan pushed his way forward between the 2 men's shoulders, who were sweating heavily now. One of them crossed his arms around his chest, breathed heavily, and then stared at Shi Yan angrily. Not convinced. Shi Yan grinned, stretched out his hand, and then touched that guy's broken shoulder. The guy screamed miserably, which frightened He Ching Man a lot. "Who is screaming?" He Ching Man looked back on alert. At the backside, Shi Yan's hand was pressing on the guy's shoulder as he said coldly, "Now are you convinced?" "Bastard, how dare you!" The other warrior shouted and was about to hit Shi Yan. Shi Yan giggled, took out the other hand, and then shot it to the warrior's face like a sharp sword. Pooh! Shi Yan's hand stabbed into the stone wall, right beside the guy's face. Shi Yan's 5 fingers deeply embedded into the stone wall like spears, and after he retracted his hand, 5 deep finger holes were left behind in the wall. That man assumed Shi Yan hadn't thrusted his hand into the wall, so he sneered and was about to pound his fist towards Shi Yan's face. "Barty, stop!" He Ching Man yelled. Barty's fist towards Shi Yan stopped halfway, and he looked to He Ching Man unhappily. "Miss He, why not teach him a lesson?" "Barty, you, look at the wall beside you." One of Barty's friends smiled bitterly. Barty was stunned. As he turned around and saw 5 deep finger holes in the wall, he soon became quiet. It was just a joke. Being cornered by Shi Yan, that guy started sweating and apologized. "Sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you." "I was joking too." Shi Yan nodded and withdrew his hand, and then mumbled, "Why ask for trouble?" As he was talking, Shi Yan kept moving towards He Ching Man. The rest of the warriors soon walked apart and leaned against the wall to make room for Shi Yan. Should have done this earlier. Shi Yan sneered as he walked to He Ching Man's side. He Ching Man frowned after she saw what Shi Yan had done, and then said lightly, "Those guys are rude, but you did too much. Zhou Nan's shoulder is broken, which will influence our ability in battles. You have to pay for it if we lose our lives." "I have to pay?" Shi Yan sneered. "Well, let me see how will you let me pay." "You." He Ching Man said that so her people wouldn't be mad at her. She didn't mean to irritate Shi Yan, but Shi Yan didn't understand and humiliated her in front of people. So she got angry and wanted to give Shi Yan a lesson. However, when she thought of Shi Yan's treasure, He Ching Man grunted, "Be quiet? Okay. Fine." Shi Yan's eyes blinked. "Demon dwellers are coming near. I will be quiet now. You guys get ready." "They are already here?" He Ching Man said with a rigid face. "How many are they? What realm?" Barty, Cho Nan, and He Ching Man were all confused by him. "There are only 6 demon dwellers, and one of them is at Earth Realm. You can manage him. The other 5, I believe you guys can beat them easily. Good luck." Shi Yan looked unconcerned as he stood against the wall, lazily. Chapter 195, Harsh Enemy. Chapter 195, Harsh Enemy. 6 demon dwellers. He Ching Man nodded slowly. Instead of being frightened, she was a little excited. Get ready! Seems like we are going to fight first. 7 warriors responded and became alert. Shi Yan nodded. The evil Wonderland was one of the 3 powers in the Kiara Sea area, so even though those young warriors had never battled with the demon dwellers from the Black Scale tribe, they were not afraid at all. Instead, they were quite excited. Be careful. Those demon dwellers can hide their smell in this cave. You can't even recognize them when they are in front of you. Leaning on the wall, Shi Yan reminded them leisurely. Barty and the group looked at him in confusion after he said that. You'd better remember what he said. He Ching Man saw distrust from her followers. He said those demon dwellers can hide smell, then they do. Focus now. He didn't even know who the Black Scale tribe was until yesterday, Barty mumbled. Yesterday is yesterday. He Ching Man grunted in confusion. She didn't know how Shi Yan became so familiar with the Black Scale tribe, but Shi Yan's performance last night made her trust him. Pay attention in case of sneak attack from the demon dwellers. Don't worry, I'm here. They can't hide themselves from me. Shi Yan smiled and said slowly, they are 150 meters from us, and they are approaching. There seems to be a broader cave 50 meters in front of us. I think it would be better if we fight there, or we can't fight freely in this narrow cave. He Ching Man paused and hesitated, then she nodded. Let's go to that broader cave. Better as a battlefield. He Ching Man took the lead and shot forward. Shi Yan smiled and followed up. Before long, he and He Ching Man reached that spacious cave. This cave was as big as a basketball course. There were traces of it being dug, for there were grooves on the wall with torches in them. There were 3 roads in the cave leading to 3 directions. Shi Yan, He Ching Man, and the group were standing on the side, observing the other end of the road attentively. This one. He Ching Man glanced at Shi Yan and lowered her voice. How long will it take? He Ching Man and Shi Yan were standing shoulder by shoulder near the stone wall. In the case that her voice could be heard by the demon dwellers, she lowered her voice and leaned her head toward Shi Yan. A wisp of aroma went into Shi Yan's nose, so he stretched out his left hand and drew a number in the air. He Ching Man nodded, and then she sent messages to her followers to tell them how soon the demon dwellers would arrive. Holding the soul-gathering pearl, Shi Yan was analyzing and feeling the smell of the demon dwellers of the Black Scale tribe. The demon dwellers of the Black Scale tribe got all advantages in the dark cave, as they could almost hide their whole bodies. Generally, only those Nirvana warriors who had formed the Sea of Consciousness could detect their smell. He Ching Man and the group hadn't reached Nirvana realm, so they wouldn't feel a bit of the demon dwellers even if they had approached near them. Holding the soul-gathering pearl, Shi Yan's spirit power became much more sensitive as he felt the demon dweller's consciousness. The soul consciousness, the sea of consciousness. Inside the dark cave, Shi Yan's eyes shone as he made up his mind that once the soul-gathering pearl could be used, he would form the sea of consciousness by himself. As he operated his spirit power several times, he gradually realized that he could take much advantage from it. There. He Ching Man was talking near his ear again, giving out a nice aroma, making Shi Yan quite excited. Shi Yan turned to glance at her. Inside the gloomy cave, He Ching Man's eyes were shining brightly as her profound qi was burning in her body. With the help of the soul-gathering pearl, Shi Yan heard the sound of wind from inside He Ching Man's body. Just then, the demon dwellers who were about 30 meters away from the entrance of the cave suddenly stopped. The demon dweller at the head of the troop had the heaviest vicious smell, and his spirit waves rippled out, flying in this direction. That demon dweller noticed them. Action! Shi Yan said firmly near He Ching Man's ear. They had found you. Take action right now while they are still in the tunnel. Kill! He Ching Man announced, as her neck turned red in the darkness. Shoo! 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 Chi, chi, chi. One after another, weapons with iridescent light shot into the stone cave where those demon dwellers were. Suddenly, miserable screams came from the cave. Sharp weapons flew out from He Chingman's palm like lightning. Despicable human beings. From the tunnel came the frightening screams of the demon dwellers. Dang, dang, dang. Dang, dang, dang. Sounds of metal clashing came from the tunnel. Inside the narrow tunnel, dazzling light sparkled. The 3-meter-tall demon dweller at the head of the troop reached the top of the cave. His black scales shined with magical black light. On his scales, several flecks were floating in a strange way. All sorts of sharp weapons struck onto his scales, but couldn't damage it at all, merely slowing down the floating flecks by a small margin. Even the weapons from He Chingman could only just shake his huge body a little. The demon dweller screamed and dashed in their direction. He Chingman and her people were standing at the entrance of the cave. In the bright light, they all saw and were frightened by what the demon dwellers did. Although they knew the scales on the demon dwellers were special, they never expected them to be so frightening. The scales were not broken by such harsh attacks. How should they battle with them once the demon dwellers got near? Light on! Seeing the situation, He Chingman announced loudly. Barty and other people soon took out their light stone and put them across the ceiling of the stone cave. The dark cave was soon lit up as daytime. The dwellers of the Black Scale tribe could hide their bodies in darkness, but appeared rapidly in bright light. He Chingman knew that she couldn't prevent from fighting in the cave, so she decided to light up the cave first. Think I can't break your scales. Seeing the cave becoming bright and the demon dweller that was about to dash out, He Chingman yelled loudly. A long silver spear appeared in her left hand, and the cave was filled with a silver light. A strange silver snake flew out from the silver spear, and then suddenly a vicious smell spurted into the cave. The silver snake was 5 meters long. It emerged from the spear and engulfed it. After then, it shot toward the demon dweller. The demon dweller, who had received all the attacks, showed a slight fear in his green eyes as he watched the silver light approaching him. A white-boned spur suddenly flew out from the scales on his chest. The spur was 1 meter long, looking like a bone in his body with fresh blood on it. Grasping the bone spur, the demon dweller turned tense as his dark green eyes filled with madness. The bone spur shook and met He Chingman's silver weapon. Chi-chi! Silver light spots sparkled everywhere, while stones flew into the sky and the cave seemed to collapse. He Chingman's silver light flew back like lightning to her hand and became a long spear again. Inside the cave, that demon dweller looked hideous as he took the bone spur and walked out of the chaos in the cave. Another white-boned spur flew out from the scale on his back. He held it tightly in his grasp. He glanced once at He Chingman and then said in weird voice, "Human girl, you haven't tasted men from the Black Scale tribe. I will make you comfortable." He Chingman's expression changed. Sure Yan's eyes got gloomy. Ah. Ha. Chapter 196. The Spotlight Turned. Chapter 196. The Spotlight Turned. The demon dweller in the lead held 2 white-boned spurs as he stood in front of the passageway. He stared fiercely at He Chingman, but didn't immediately attack. In the passageway behind him, stone shards flew everywhere as pieces of shattered rocks fell from the top of the cave. In just a mere moment, there had already been piles of rocks lying at opening of the cave. Another 3-meter-tall, sturdy-looking demon dweller quickly sneaked out of the passageway while dropping his head low. The other 4 demon dwellers that were left also sprinted into that basketball court-sized stone cave before the shattered rocks covered the opening of the cave. The 6 demon dwellers all stood in the bright cave covered in black scales. They were tall and big, with dark green eyes that glinted with fierce cold light, looking at their prey in the darkness like poisonous snakes who would select people to bite. Master Guya! The second demon dweller that came to the passageway stepped forward and slightly bowed. His voice was sharp like screeching glass, sounding very shrill and harsh. This human girl is still a virgin. Her own blood can be used as a sacrifice. While this demon dweller talked, his dark evil eyes wandered on He Qingman's seducing body. After he spoke, he even licked his lips with a lustful look in his eyes. All right, later when I fuck her, I will take her own blood. The Black Scale tribe demon dweller named Guya shouted with a low voice. Since you all came out now, then let's start killing. The humans that came in are not just this group. After we kill this wave of them, we still want to find other prey. Duo! The 5 demon dwellers roared. They suddenly spread out as they fiercely shot towards He Qingman, Batty, and the rest. Guya held 2 white-boned spurs as he grinned and looked at He Qingman coldly. Human girl, I will not kill you immediately. I will first capture you, then slowly torture you, make you miserable under my big thing, so that you will know the power of a man from the Black Scale tribe. He Qingman clenched her teeth. She held on tight to that long spear, silently. Clang, clang, clang. The sound of clashing metal suddenly came from the silent stone cave. The 5 demon dwellers have spread it out. They each went up to 7 warriors that included Beatty and Zhou Nan. Batty and the rest also spread out. Each one battled with the demon dwellers. When the sharp weapons on their hands hit on these demon dwellers from the Black Scale tribe, the sharp weapons were all blocked by the black scales. They actually couldn't break through the black scales and could only leave some marks on top of it. Bright light shot around in the cave like beams. Each martial skill formed into a dazzling light, being casted by Batty and the rest. Blood split slash. Batty roared as his left arm opened up with his flesh and blood splurging out. Drops of blood, like crystal-clear red gems, suddenly flew out from inside his arm, and then combined with the bright red light in his right-hand palm. Immediately, they formed into an arc-shaped sharp blood slash, and then fiercely slashed towards a demon dweller that was dueling with him. BZZ, BZZ, BZZ. The blood-colored arc light seemed to have ripped through there, and was actually even sharper than the weapon that he used before. It instantly slashed onto the demon dweller that was in front of him. The blood-colored arc light suddenly shot out and instantly formed into pieces of bloodlight, shooting into that demon dweller's chest like blades. In a series of intense metal clashing sounds, those scattered bloodlights went through the gaps in between the black scales of the demon dweller, directly shooting into the demon's body. The demon dweller that relied on the black scales as defense suddenly roared as his face was contorted with pain. Batty's martial skill spread out halfway, forming into pieces of bloodlight, and sank into the demon dweller's body through the gaps in between the black scales. It finally severely wounded this demon dweller. There are cracks in between their scales. If your attacks avoid the scales, you can severely wound them. Batty's expression shook as he hurriedly notified the others. Under Batty's reminder, the rest 6 evil Wonderland warriors also suddenly came to realize the truth and stopped blindly attacking the black scales on these demon dwellers. They started to avoid their own weaknesses. Using the profoundness of their martial skills, they found the gaps in the demon dweller scales, and then started to attack straight towards the flesh of the demon dwellers. The original landslide situation, because of Batty's few words, slowly flipped to the other side. Sure, Yin quietly nodded. The warriors from the evil Wonderland were indeed extraordinary. When facing the demon tribe, they didn't show a single trace of fear. They were even continuously observing during the battle, finding the weaknesses of these demon dwellers. It was because the fearlessness in their hearts that they could notice the slightest details and see through the weak spots on these black scale tribe demon dwellers. In these 5 demon dwellers, None of them took out a weapon. They all used the most simple and crude method to close up on Batty and the rest and fought hand to hand. The black scales on these 5 demon dwellers were not only incredibly hard, but also when battling, those scales would suddenly spike up. The scales would turn into pieces of extremely sharp blades. One demon dweller had an extremely fast speed. He quickly sprinted towards an evil Wonderland warrior. Holding against the fierce martial skill of that warrior, he actually managed to hug onto that evil Wonderland warrior. The demon dweller was 3 meters tall, but that evil Wonderland warrior was only 7 meters. He was straight up pressed into the demon's arms. Then the scales on that demon dweller suddenly spiked up, and pieces of sharp blades directly pierced the body of that evil Wonderland warrior. Through a series of pulling, the body of that evil Wonderland warrior was pierced thousands of times by the scales on that demon dweller. There were suddenly countless wounds on his body where his internal organs could be seen. That person shrieked miserably. The life in his eyes slowly drained away. The profound qi in his entire body also eventually dissipated. Shi Yan had been strolling around in the cave. He wasn't in a hurry to intervene. When he realized that a warrior from the evil Wonderland side was killed first by a demon dweller, he quietly walked to that area, absorbed all of the profound qi that flowed out of that person's body, and then finally frowned and looked towards Hiqingman. Hiqingman's enchanting figure was guarded by layers and layers of strong wind. When she waved the silver long spear in her hand, it would instantly form silver strange snakes that found every opportunity to bite at Guya. Loud whooshing sounds came from Hiqingman's body. When one wind blade shot out, countless wind blades would immediately surround Guya. Guya held the white bone spurs. The black scales that covered his body shone in a mysterious magical light. Under the attack of the wind blades, Guya's 3-meter-tall body was fast as lightning as he constantly shifted his position. The wind blades formed by Hiqingman's martial spirit shattered that piece of stone wall, but it still couldn't pierce into the gaps of Guya's scales. In Guya's hands, the 2 white-boned spurs from inside his body drew streaks of white arcs. Cold, murderous spirits flowed out of that pale, white-boned spur, silently affecting everyone's state of mind. The cold, murderous spirits spread inside the cave. It made every demon dweller full of energy, making the evil energy in them become stronger and stronger. On the other hand, Hiqingman, Batty, and the rest became more and more irrational under those murderous spirits. They lost their usual calmness and kept making mistakes during battle. The performance of some martial spirits also lost a lot of quality. Shi Yan kept walking around. He secretly took note of the bone spurs in Guya's hand. Using the soul-gathering pearl, he could realize that from the spirits that flowed out of the white bone spurs, there was an evil power that was diluting people's minds. Those spirits spread with a very slow speed, such that the people who were battling couldn't notice at all. Because of those spirits, the situation in the cave slowly changed in an unfavorable way. Even Hiqingman couldn't notice this type of change. The demon dwellers became fiercer and fiercer. Their power became stronger and stronger. In contrast, the evil Wonderland warriors all had tired expressions. Their eyes were filled with irritation, and the speed in which their profound qi circulated also became slower. Shi Yan observed for a moment and suddenly frowned. Hiqingman, take note of those 2 bone spurs. The power that's spreading from those bone spurs will make the demon dwellers stronger, and stronger while making you guys more irrational. It is slowly weakening your power. The spirits spreading from the 2 bone spurs will become the winning factor. If you can't stop it, all your people will die right here. Hiqingman's delicate body shook. Her bright eyes suddenly shot out a cold light. She looked towards the bone spurs carried by Guya and seemed to have finally noticed. Guya, who was struggling with Hiqingman, suddenly revealed a surprised look in his dark green eyes. He glimpsed at Shi Yan from afar and then said coldly, Boy, you sure have sharp eyes. You actually saw through my tricks. Shao! Kill this boy first, so he won't cause more trouble. Understood, master. The demon dweller that was battling with Zhou Nan suddenly abandoned Zhou Nan. His broad body was like a doorboard, directly pressing toward Shi Yan. Shi Yan's expression was unstirred as he said lightly, "Well, after watching for so long, I should exercise a little too. Be careful. If you die here, it would be hard for us to account for this to the Yang family." He Qingman shouted, "Don't fight with them up front. I've already sent out a signal. Sister Nan and the others will find us soon. You only need to hold up for a moment." Although He Qingman didn't like Shi Yan, but she knew Shi Yan's true identity. She knew that Yang Qingdi highly valued Shi Yan. To find out whether he was alive or not, he made a prediction at the expense of 3 drops of immortal blood. These news were unknown to others, but she got to know through Xia Xinyan. If Shi Yan died while she was around, then not only would the Yang family blade the evil wonderland, they might also release their anger on the He family. This was definitely not something He Qingman could handle. However, her concerned shout accidentally revealed a crucial word. The Yang family, inside the cave. Upon hearing the word, all the Black Scale tribe demon dwellers suddenly bursted, with a bone-deep hatred in their dark green eyes. Guya, who was in the lead, also suddenly roared towards the sky. "The Yang family! You damned kid! You're from the Yang family! I will pull out your tendons and peel off your skin, so you can have a taste of our Black Scale tribe's cruel torture. The most vicious Yang family killed countless people of our tribe. The reason why we were willing to put our life at risk to come through a tear in space is to have revenge on the Yang family." All of the Black Scale tribe demon dwellers suddenly abandoned their opponents. They each clenched their teeth, and with extreme hate shooting out of their dark green eyes, they came directly at Shi Yan. He Qingman originally wanted Shi Yan to be careful out of good intention, but she didn't realize that her good intention caused this result. Shi Yan frowned deeply. Before all of the Black Scale tribe demon dwellers got close, he started to gather his power as he quietly formed gravitational fields. The Yang family is sure something. They can actually make these cruel demon dwellers get so hateful. I wonder how many evil things did Yang family people do in the 4th demon area that made demon dwellers go insane. Sure, Yin quickly took action as he secretly thought in his mind. Chapter 197, it's my turn. Chapter 197, now it's my turn. The 6 demon dwellers at once walked toward Shi Yan as soon as they heard he was from the Yang family. Shi Yan, who was roaming in the cave, suddenly became their number 1 target. Shi Yan took a few steps back and leaned his back against the wall, in case he was attacked on both the front and back sides. Seeing the demon dwellers encircle Shi Yan, He Qingman regretted a lot, so she yelled, "Protect him!" Her light body swayed across Barty toward Shi Yan. The rest 6 of the Disaster Realm warriors also rushed to the demon dwellers in case Shi Yan was killed. Kill! The bone spur roared and turned into 2 streams of light, shooting forward quickly. While flying, the 2 bone spur seemed to crack the space, and on their tips appeared green light spots. The green light looked like the fire of Ghost. It split and tried to cover Shi Yan. Shi Yan felt a vicious smell rushing to him before he was about to control the gravitational field. Buzz, buzz, buzz! Shining green spots exaggerated in front of his eyes. They were poisonous worms with green thorns. Those worms smelt like guya, filled with vicious smell inside their bodies, and that smell wave stuck to Shi Yan altogether. Shi Yan's body shook and his eyes showed a little pain. The spirit attack from the vicious smell stunned his soul and consciousness. Suddenly, he lost control of the gravitational field. At the same time, those poisonous worms became green light spots and fell down like a rain. Petrification. Shi Yan's expression suddenly turned serious, and there was cold light exploding in his eyes. In just a moment, his skin turned Kelly green and as hard as iron. He went into the third stage of petrification. Dang, dang, dang. Dense green worms rushed toward him. Their thorns stabbed onto Shi Yan mightily, though they didn't get through him. Guya shouted as a surprised light crossed his dark green eyes. The green demon worm was from the demon area. Their thorns were extremely sharp. Guya had never failed as long as he shot out the green demon worms while in a battle. The green demon worms could penetrate human body and nibble human entrails up. Though small, the green demon worms were hideous creatures. They were fed by Guya with his own blood and flesh. Even demon dwellers couldn't defend them when under their attacks, and would be invaded by these creatures. As Guya expected, human warriors emphasized the accumulation of profound qi. However, their bodies were weak, so they couldn't defend the assault from the green demon worms. Guya fed the green demon worms mainly to attack Yang family members with a mortal martial spirit. Even those Yang warriors with a mortal martial spirit couldn't prevent the green demon worms from nibbling their organs once the worms got into their bodies. In a battle, once the green demon worms got into one's body, the immortal martial spirit couldn't stop them from nibbling the body. In a short time, that one's organs would be eaten up. Those green demon worm rushed up and tried to penetrate Shi Yan's body, only to find out that his skin was as hard as steel, confusing Guya a lot. Get lost! Shi Yan sneered, and then a dark light appeared around his body, like a shield protecting him. The green demon worms covered Shi Yan's body and kept stabbing at him with their thorns, only failed to break his skin. As soon as the dark light shield formed, it pushed all the green demon worm away. Boom! Guya's two white-boned spurs shot out quickly to strike onto the dark light shield mightily. The dark light shield exploded at once into a cloud of dark light, and then the two-boned spurs stabbed into Shi Yan's chest. Puh! The two-boned spurs went 3 inches into Shi Yan's chest. As they shook, the green demon worms appeared to try and get into Shi Yan's body again. Shi Yan was astounded. Kill! He Qingman finally arrived, her hair flying. She produced wind swords from her body and thrust them towards Guya. Guya giggled, stretched out his hand, and the two-bone spurs flew back to his hand. Kid, the green demon worm went into your body. Just wait for it to eat you up. The Guya glanced at Shi Yan and then turned to fight against He Qingman. That kid is dying. Let him alone. Kill these guys. The 5 demon dwellers stopped assaulting Shi Yan and turned to fight against the evil Wonderland warriors. Shi Yan was ignored. Clenching his teeth, Shi Yan continued to produce profound qi to drive those green demon worm out. The profound qi became like lightning and strongly struck onto the green demon worms. However, under the attack of the profound qi, those green demon worms felt nothing and still kept going forward to Shi Yan's heart. Shi Yan's head got numb. Without further thinking, he tried to trigger the negative power. At that time, hot power of flame flew out from the blood vein ring secretly and soon went into Shi Yan's body. Suddenly, Shi Yan felt as if in a big fire with his whole body turning red. The power of the earth core flame. The power soon extended inside Shi Yan's body and heated him up. The stone cave became hotter and hotter. The green demon worms inside Shi Yan's body were soon scorched before it could do any harm to Shi Yan. Enough! Shi Yan's spirit sank into the blood vein ring and sent messages to earth core flame. The flame power disappeared, but Shi Yan's flesh was still burning, greatly covered by steam. At that crucial point, the earth core flame came out to Shi Yan's rescue. But its flame power was too strong. Though it had controlled carefully, it had nearly burnt Shi Yan into ashes. If Shi Yan hadn't refined his body in the magma pond, he couldn't have endured the flame power. Taking a deep breath, Shi Yan triggered his energy, wrapped the dead bodies of the green demon worms with his profound qi, and pushed them to the 2 blood holes in his chest. Gritting his teeth, Shi Yan gouged the black bodies out from the blood hole with a gloomy face. Seeing the flesh at the blood holes were wriggling, Shi Yan knew it was recovering itself. He got a little relieved, and then looked to Guya in hatred. Guya was at Earth Realm, and his bone spurs were so sharp that they could break Shi Yan's petrification martial spirit and leave bloody holes on his chest. Shi Yan was a little scared since he found that the petrification martial spirit couldn't defend against everything. Guya had injected his spirit power in every green demon worm, so their deaths let him notice Shi Yan's abnormality. You can kill the green demon worm inside your body. Guya looked at Shi Yan in surprise. The green demon worms won't be hurt by profound qi, but sharp weapons. What energy did you use? Flame power. Such strong flame power. It's my turn. Shi Yan grinned and soon calmed down. Brutal, murderous, and crazy energy exploded in his body, and he suddenly became much skinnier. His energy doubled in an instant. The first sky of rampage. Entangle. Pointing at Guya, Shi Yan ordered. The gravitational field which had hidden beside Guya suddenly triggered and dragged Guya in. Carrying the white bone spurs, Guya was in a fierce battle with He Ching Man, and his body suddenly quivered as if drunk. He couldn't even stand still. What the hell? Guya yelled and looked around to see what had restrained him. Entangle! 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 Shi Yan kept calm, pointed at those demon dwellers, and ordered word by word. The rest 5 demon dwellers looked stronger than the evil Wonderland warriors. Because their black scales were hard, they rushed toward Barty and others fearlessly. Once approached by the demon dwellers, Barty and others found it hard to fight back, and they had to retreat from the attacks. However, as Shi Yan spoke, entangle, the situation in the cave reversed. Like Guya, the other 5 demon dwellers also shook inside the cave and could only move in a small area, being not able to attack again. He Qingman's eyes showed surprise as she looked at Shi Yan. She couldn't believe what she saw at all. Barty, Zhou-Nan, and other evil Wonderland warriors were all shocked too, watching their adversaries swirling up in the air, not knowing what happened to them. To most of their surprise, they didn't find anything, even though they had sent out their spirit power for detection. What are you doing? Kill. Shi Yan was impatient. Oh, yeah. He Ching Man just realized then. She blushed and yelled, Take them quickly. The evil Wonderland warriors soon woke up and hurried to fight back. Ah, ha. Chapter 198, Insight the Danger. Chapter 198, Understanding the Danger. Sponsored by Caleb Engwa and Fabrice Querard. The 4 gravitational fields tightly bound the 6 demon dwellers. Under the effect of the gravitational field, their bodies were involuntarily rotated by a strangling power as the black scales on their bodies uttered pa-pa sounds. In the gravitational field, the 2 different forces impacted each other, which also affected other force. The power inside the demon dweller's body was also affected. The speed of gathering power suddenly slowed down, causing it to be difficult for them to maximize their power. However, the black scales on the demon dweller's body were indeed very strange. Under the effect of the gravitational field, their flesh didn't torn up. The powerful body of the demon dwellers were fully seen at this moment. A shout from He Ching Man caused the warriors from the evil Wonderland to be dragged back to their sense, and they rushed towards the demon dwellers. Don't come here. When Shi Yan saw those people wanting to rush towards the demon dwellers, he immediately shouted, Attack from afar! Once you get near them, you will also be bound by the power. Barty and the other's face slightly changed, and they immediately stopped. After measuring a safe distance from the demon dwellers, they casted their specialty martial skills to attack those demon dwellers. After Shi Yan kept stimulating the negative forces, his body's strength doubled. He immediately rushed towards Guya. As the owner of the gravitational field, he naturally wouldn't be affected by the gravitational field. After he rushed into the gravitational field, he immediately casted out his finger gun. The 5 fingers, which became like a sharp knife, directly pierced into Guya pupil. The demon dwellers from Black Scale tribe, not only were their bodies covered full with scales, but even their cheeks and necks were covered by the scales. The black scales were extremely strong. It was comparable to Shi Yan's petrified body. Without the help of weapons, it was very difficult to pierce through these scales. Only in their eyes were there no scales, causing it to be the weakest place to attack. The dark green pupils of Guya revealed a panic expression for the first time. He helplessly watched as Shi Yan's 5 fingers came in. He wanted to use his hands to block it, but when he waved his arms, it was difficult to grasp the direction and scale because his whole body felt like it was in mud. He couldn't use the full extent of his power. "A moment ago, weren't you very fierce?" Shi Yan sneered as his fingers quickly approached and suddenly stabbed into Guya's eyes. Hua hua hua. At this moment, the scales on Guya's body suddenly shaking up, causing them to suddenly come alive and crank. On the scales, in the small spots that were as small as coins, a murderous intent as intense as gunpowder suddenly bursted out. Shi Yan suddenly remembered the ice-cold flame's words. The demon dwellers of Black Scale tribe, when in a pinch, can use the scales on their body to attack. Those scales were like a blade. Its impact was extremely vicious. Once being shot through by those scales, the body from the warriors on the same realm would be cut into pieces. Scale armor. It was both the defensive armor for the Black Scale tribe and also their most important weapon to attack with. However, those demon dwellers from Black Scale tribe won't use the scales on their body to attack unless they are in a pinch, because once the scales shot out, their body will also be damaged and they will find it difficult to recover again. Unless they were at the moment of life or death, the demon dwellers definitely wouldn't go to such extreme measures. In Guya's dark green eyes, it was filled with madness as he peered at Shi Yan's fingers that came over and then smiled a cruel smile. Shi Yan was very familiar with this kind of desperate, cruel smile. The hand that was going to pierce into Guya's eyes suddenly withdrew. At this time, Shi Yan was very calm and didn't dare to act recklessly. He quickly stormed out from the gravitational field. "Fall back into the tunnel." After he came out from the gravitational field, Shi Yan's eyes scanned the battlefield, finding out that the scales on the remaining 3 demon dwellers from Black Scale tribe was also shaken up. It was the same as Guya. They were ready to die, so they used their last attack. Those evil Wonderland warriors who surrounded the demon dwellers and were attacking happily became suddenly stunned after they heard that and looked strangely toward Shi Yan. "What's wrong?" He-Ching Man was also stunned. The silver spear that she controlled had already pierced through the scale from a demon dweller and was ready to take that demon dweller's life. At this critical moment, Shi Yan suddenly said to withdraw, making her confused. "If you don't want to die, then go quickly." Seeing the scales from the demon dwellers shaking up faster and faster, Shi Yan didn't have any time to explain and quickly rushed towards the tunnel. Listen to him. He-Ching Man was stunned for a moment. From Shi Yan's tension, she immediately realized something wrong. After she shouted towards Barty and the others, she was the second one to rush towards the tunnel. The warriors from the evil Wonderland finally reacted and began to quickly withdraw back and rushed into the tunnel. Xiao, xiao, xiao. Inside the stone cave, the scales flew apart. The scales were like a sharp blade. With amazing penetrated power, they shot out one after another from the demon dwellers' bodies and flew in all directions. The scales weren't affected by the gravitational field. For a brief duration, those scales flew apart inside the stone cave like arrows fired from the sky and covered the whole cave. Shi Yan and He Qing Man were the first to enter the tunnel. Barty and Zhou Nan also knew that Shi Yan and He Qing Man wouldn't retreat at this critical moment without reason, so they had also withdrawn early. Before those scales were shot out, they were already inside the tunnel. However, there are two evil Wonderland warriors who were a step too late in rushing into the tunnel. Their body blocked the tunnel exit. Two extremely shrill screams immediately came from the mouth of these two men. Shi Yan was facing them and could clearly see their body being hit by those scales, causing their bodies to immediately split up and turn into hornets' nest as they turned into pieces of meat. Those scales' armors were still flying around. They were like a dense knife net and filled the entire stone cave. Shi Yan's face became sullen and secretly clammed up. This desperate final attack from the Black Scale Tribe warriors was extremely fierce. It was enough to instantly behead an unaware opponent. If he wasn't told by the ice-cold flame that the Black Scale Tribe had this move and his fingers pierced into Guya's eyes, then maybe his body would also be torn out by those scales that came out from Guya's body. As the scales flew around, those demon dwellers' flesh and blood blurred. Apparently, their body were heavily damaged. When those scales had bursted out, the demon dweller's body strength suddenly multiplied. Among them, Guya was the strongest. After those scales flew out, his body suddenly bursted out a surging, explosive power that even tore a gap inside the gravitational field. Guya, whose body full of wounds, looked malignant. In his dark green pupils, there was endless hatred. However, he didn't stay too long in the cave. Before he understands the eccentricity of the gravitational field, he didn't dare rely on his short-term upgraded strength to kill Shi Yan and He Qing Man. He awkwardly rushed toward another tunnel and left those bounded demon dwellers. Inside the cave, the scales seemed to have their own life. After they stopped spinning, it stayed in the air for a few seconds before suddenly flying towards Guya. Guya's body suddenly became like a magnet and withdrew back those scales that had been shot out. After that, those scales were very accurately re-pierced into his flesh. When Guya retreated into the tunnel, those scales became the most solid barrier on his body once again. It actually can be withdrawn back. Shi Yan was stunned and shocked by those Black Scale Tribe tricks. He didn't think that those demon dwellers not only can release those scales to attack, but also can be withdrawn back. Such a trick like this was really impossible for others to replicate. Shi Yan didn't dare to pursue Guya, who escaped, and only watched him as he escaped. Inside the stone cave, the scales from the other 5 demon dwellers were still flying around. Those scales defied any law and were extremely dense. If one recklessly rushed into the cave, then they would only become a target. Maybe they would even be pierced through by those scales and turned into a hornet nest. Shi Yan, He Qing Man, and the others hid inside the tunnel and looked dignified at those scales. Those 5 demon dwellers inside the gravitational field were slightly frightened and continued to struggle inside the gravitational field, trying to escape from the gravitational field. Unfortunately, those 5 demon dwellers were only in the disaster realm. After the scales burst out, their body also formed a short-term explosive power, but weren't as powerful as Guya's, not being able to tear up a gap in the gravitational field. Sure, Yan didn't dare to act recklessly and only stayed inside the tunnel before those scales stopped moving. How did you know that the Black Scale Tribe had a counterattack such as this? He Qing Man's eyes was full of strange light as she looked at Shi Yan. Yesterday, didn't you say that you hadn't heard about the Black Scale Tribe before? Why are you suddenly so familiar with the Black Scale Tribe? Are you hiding something and don't really want to help us? Shi slightly frowned, but didn't look at her. While looking at those flying scales, he said lightly, "Yesterday, I still didn't know anything about the Black Scale Tribe. However, the magical treasure that I have can insight into those demon dwellers' soul, vaguely finding out what they want to do. Just now, when I was attacking Guya, I happened to use that magical treasure and found out Guya's plan and then reminded you guys. He put all the reason into the magical treasure that he had. He Qing Man frowned. She wasn't satisfied with Shi Yan answer, so it was like that. Looks like the Yang family is really powerful. Their secret treasures are countless. Nothing to do with the Yang family. I still haven't gone to the Immortal Island. Who knows what strange, secret treasures that the Yang family have? Shi Yan explained. What? He Qing Man was even more surprised, and her eyesight towards Shi Yan became filled with more doubt. Didn't you come from a remote area? Is it an area that had such magical treasure? From He Qingman's view, the Merchant Union was a remote area in the Grace mainland. Shi Yan, who came from that area, even if he has secret treasures, it shouldn't be able to reach this level, right? Remote area? Shi Yan heard a disdain meaning from her tone and grunted. Any place has its magical place. Don't think that the endless sea is the center of the Grace mainland. In many places, there is also many mysterious treasures like this. Of course I know that the endless sea isn't the center of the Grace mainland. He Qing Man frowned, and then slightly disdained. But the place that you came from is definitely a remote area. Humph. I am the warrior from the evil wonderland, so I would naturally know where the places that have many strong warriors are, and where those that don't. Sure, Yen curled his lips, being too lazy to continue speaking with her. Qing Man! Qing Man! From the deep tunnel behind Shi Yan, they suddenly heard Lin Nan calling. The sound was far away, so Lin Nan and the others probably only just received He Qingman's message and finally rushed over here. He Qing Man was startled and hurriedly said, "Our people have arrived. Now we can attack back. Humph! This trip we will follow the Guya and directly find their troops, cleaning them up in one fell sweep to lessen the time spent on this island." Shi Yan nodded. Just as he was about to answer, he immediately felt an abnormality through the soul-gathering pearl. After he sensed a bit, Shi Yan's face suddenly changed color and immediately shouted, "Get out from the cave now!" Translated by Wai. Chapter 199 Rampage. Chapter 199 Rampage. Through the soul-gathering pearl, Shi Yan felt an extremely powerful life force from the bottom of the mine. From his understanding of life force, he can be sure that the powerful life force came from a black-scaled demon dweller, who was at least at the third sky of the Nirvana realm. The black-scaled demon dweller, who was in the second sky of the Nirvana realm, was definitely a frightening existence in the Black Rock Island. Although Lin Nan has the same Nirvana realm cultivation, through the battle with the demon dwellers, Shi Yan was absolutely sure that in the same realm, a black-scale demon dweller was absolutely more powerful than a human warrior. In other words, Lin Nan certainly wasn't that demon dweller's opponent. The higher the realm that a demon dweller had, the greater the risk was when passing through the unstable points in space. Maybe when this demon dweller came to the endless sea, he was injured and just recovered recently. Maybe Guya's injury angered this guy, and when he was angry, his life force became too strong, thus allowing Shi Yan to feel it through the soul-gathering pearl. At this moment, this demon dweller was moving up quickly from the bottom of the mine toward Shi Yan. Soon, that demon dweller will appear here, and even if Lin Nan arrived here, she probably wasn't that demon dweller's opponent. Sure, Yen understood his own strength. Even when he used the second sky of Rampage and doubled his strength, he only can deal with a warrior at the Earth realm at most. That demon dweller was in the second sky of the Nirvana realm, and his body was also extremely powerful. If he fights with this demon dweller, he doesn't have any chance of survival. Therefore, his first thought is to leave quickly. What happened? He Qing Man exclaimed. She didn't know what happened, but from Shi Yan's expression, she knew that something terrible must have happened. Leave here first. Shi Yan's face became sullen as he returned to the back and rushed quickly towards the exit. When he entered, Shi Yan remembered every detail of this cave, and he was already clear about this maze-like cave because he had already formed a map in his mind. Shi Yan only answered once and immediately left, making He Ching Man more surprised. "Miss He, what should we do?" The warriors from the evil wonderland looked at He Ching Man at a loss about what to do. He Ching Man frowned. After hesitating for a while, she shouted, "Withdraw! You guys have also seen that guy's strange methods. He knows the situation better than anyone else. If he wants to leave, then he must have his own reasons." Barty and the others nodded their heads. He Ching Man took the lead. After swaying for a bit, she turned into green light that rushed toward Shi Yan's direction. Shi Yan quickly flew across the tunnel, with the profound qi in his body flowing into his legs. A sound came from the black hard rocks every time he landed. Some of the rocks were even broken apart. Looks like he needs to find a martial skill that increases his speed. While Shi Yan was moving, he secretly thought. As far as he knew, there were many martial skill that increase speed. Once learned, it can greatly enhance the speed and can also make the body's movements unpredictable during the battle. When he was at the Shi family in the Tianyan city, he found several kinds of martial skills for body cultivation in the martial spirit palace of the Shi family. However, those martial skills level were far too low, so he didn't use them. And also, there was usually no special occasion or battle that would make him in need to use this kind of martial skill. However, today through the soul-gathering pearl, when he sensed there was a demon dweller with the cultivation of the second sky of the Nirvana realm rushing towards him with lightning speed, he felt for the first time that his speed was too slow. At a crucial time, speed can be a lifesaver. Chi. In front of the tunnel, the sound of movement in the air suddenly came. Shi Yan stopped and looked up towards the front. A plump figure stood there at the tunnel exit, with a long shadow following it. This figure's speed was too fast, causing an illusion of a long shadow that appeared very strange. Fool! Lin Nan suddenly stopped, showing a surprised look at Shi Yan, and then frowned. What happened? Where are He Ching Man and the others? After he saw that the one who was coming was Lin Nan, Shi Yan relaxed. They are in the back. We need to get out from here as soon as possible. Get out from here? Lin Nan was stunned. I still haven't seen the demon dwellers. Our objective here is to clean up the demon dwellers located on the island, and before we accomplish the mission, how can we leave? If you guys want to complete the mission, then it is your problem. I don't want to get involved. Shi Yan was too lazy to explain anymore, so he passed Lin Nan and quickly rushed out. He already felt that the speed of the demon dweller who has the cultivation at the second sky of the Nirvana realm was gradually accelerating, and soon that demon dweller will arrive at his location. Time was being wasted, and in order to save his life, Shi Yan didn't want to waste any more time. Explaining would only waste a minute of time, but in this moment, every minute was extremely valuable. Maybe if he had explained, he would have already ruined himself. So what happened? Lin Nan exclaimed, I received He Ching Man's message. She said that you guys have encountered the demon dwellers. Just ask He Ching Man yourself. She will be here in a moment. Shi Yan replied and kept running towards the exit. Lin Nan wanted to ask more, but she found that Shi Yan had already disappeared. What a strange guy. I don't know what he came to the Black Rock Island for. Even though he said that he wanted to train himself, after seeing the powerful demon dwellers, he actually ran away instead. Lin Nan frowned and muttered, being full of doubts. Foosh fush, SJ. Figures suddenly came out from the tunnel, one after another. In a slightly narrow cave, Shen Yidan, Peng Pei, Shi Yubai were bringing another 10 warriors and was about to enter the tunnel. Shi Yan suddenly appeared. What? Shen Yidan exclaimed, and then looked strangely at Shi Yan as he said, Why did you come back? Yeah, didn't you said that you guys encountered the demon dwellers? What are you running from? Peng Pei smiled, and then said, "Don't say that you're scared of the demon dwellers and frightened by them? Ha ha ha. Then why did you come here in the first place? Didn't you say that you want to train yourself?" Sure, Yen was too lazy to mind them and passed them. Wait. Shi Yu Bai blocked Shi Yen Wei, his face full of doubt. What did you guys encounter? Where is He Qing Man? Even though you want to flee, you need to make things clear. Yeah, there is nothing to be afraid of. We have already come. Shin Yi-Dan smiled with his eyes filled with disdain. Not to mention, Sister Nan already went ahead. Sister Nan is in the Nirvana realm. With her here, those demon dwellers won't be able to harm you. I really don't know what you're afraid of. These three apparently assumed that Shi Yen was a coward and that Shi Yen was scared after seeing powerful demon dwellers. Shi Yen sneered, and then said toward Shi Yu Bai, who blocked his way, "Move! I don't care if you guys want to be heroes. Don't block my way. Before you make things clear first, don't even think about leaving." Shi Yu Bai's eyes became cold, and then said, "You really think that your surname is Yang? Even if your surname is Yang, I still don't care. Humph, you are only in the disaster realm. Even though you really came from the Yang family, certainly you aren't an important figure. In this Black Rock Island, there is no way you can come and go as you want." Shi Yen's face suddenly turned cloudy. He didn't continue to explain and maintained his body in the first sky of rampage. Shi Yen suddenly burst out like a bullet toward Shi Yu Bai. "Ah, he dares to attack!" Shi Yu Bai screamed, and then shook his head. With the cultivation of Disaster Realm, he dares to attack the warrior with the cultivation of the second sky of the Earth Realm. I don't know if he is too confident or already crazy. He must be frightened by the demon dwellers. I already can't tell who he is. The other evil Wonderland warriors who were there exposed the expression of ridicule and sneered at Shi Yen in sarcasm. Shi Yu Bai snorted. His body still blocked the way and didn't move a bit. His hands drew a semicircular arc, and then dark yellow light quickly condensed, forming a layer of solid soil barrier. Shi Yu Bai's martial spirit can control the power of the earth and formed the earth power into earth wall, which is enough to withstand the impact from a normal earth realm warrior. After forming the earth wall, Shi Yu Bai sneered, backed up 2 steps, and then hid into the tunnel while coldly watching Shi Yen attack. Boom! A dull explosion sound suddenly came out from that dark yellow light wall. Under the impact from Shi Yen, the wall suddenly twisted a bit and immediately exploded. Shen Yi-Dan, Peng Pei, and the other's face suddenly changed. Shi Yen's body smashed mercilessly at the defenseless Shi Yu Bai body, causing him to fly out. Before he even landed, Shi Yen already passed him and had disappeared into the dark tunnel. What? Shen Yi-Dan covered his mouth with his face full of horror while looking towards the direction of where Shi Yen disappeared into. How can it be? Peng Pei exclaimed. Even I wasn't able to break through Brother Shi's light wall. That kid, how could that kid break through it? Who knows? Shen Yi-Dan smiled dryly and his expression full of surprise. I think we have looked down on him. Maybe this guy was really the Yang's direct descendant. Otherwise, how can he have such powerful strength? We maybe really have been misled. Impossible. How would I have never heard about this little monster from Yang family? This Shi Yen I have really never heard of before. And he also said that his surname was Shi, so how can he be from the Yang family? Peng Pei shouted. At this moment, Shi Yu Bai slowly stood up and walked towards them. His eyes were full of hate. Let's find Qing Man first. After we get out, I will deal with him. Shen Yi-Dan and Peng Pei looked at each other. Their expression was very strange, but they didn't say anything. Along with Shi Yu Bai, they rushed toward the direction that Shi Yen came from. Translated by Wai. Chapter 207 Magical Shifts. Chapter 207 Magical Shifts. The sun was shining. Shi Yan jumped out of the cave as fast as lightning, looked at the sun, picked a direction, and then left quickly. A great shake occurred in the cave, and the whole quarry seemed to quiver. Vicious energy exploded in the quarry, while clouds of black demon air were ascending from the cracks on the top of the mountain. Fierce and panic screams came out from the cave. Shi Yan's advancing body slowed down a little as he held the soul-gathering pearl. His face turned gloomier. Through the soul-gathering pearl, he felt that there was a massive clashing inside the cave. Apparently, the evil Wonderland warriors had met the demon dwellers. Shi Yan was sure that it must be Lin Nan who was fighting against the Nirvana realm demon dweller. Although Lin Nan was at the same realm, Shi Yan didn't think she could win. Under the strikes of the demon dwellers, Lin Nan had little chance to survive, not mentioning taking out the rest evil Wonderland warriors alive. After detection, Shi Yan knew he couldn't stay there any longer, so he sped up and left in a hurry. Bang, bang, bang. The quarry was about to collapse. After the great bombs, the wall of the cave soon became cracked. Shi Yan's expression changed again before he accelerated his speed even faster. In an hour, Shi Yan arrived at the mountain top that he stayed the night before. He began to watch the quarry. Some black spots were moving and running away. Shi Yan realized they were the evil Wonderland warriors. With a sigh, Shi Yan knew the evil Wonderland warriors were in trouble. Observing carefully, he found that those demon dwellers didn't run out of the quarry to chase them for some reason. Getting a little relieved, Shi Yan sat down on the mountain silently and dived his consciousness into the blood vein ring and began to communicate with the ice-cold flame. Find me a martial skill that can help me speed up and change my body. Now. Now. The ice-cold flame went silent, picking martial skill for Shi Yan. Shi Yan waited with his eyebrows frowned. Half an hour later, the ice-cold flame responded. There is a martial skill called magical shifts. It includes 7 shifts. Once you trained with it, you can speed up several times. This martial skill is very demanding about one's body condition. Your body and disaster realm consciousness could at most master 2 shifts. I will teach you the basic 2 shifts. Shi Yan was surprised and said joyfully, Great! The 2 shifts are Phantom Shift and Electric Shift. The Phantom Shift can let you generate shadows that could baffle your enemies. The higher your level is, the more shadows you can generate. According to my observation, you can produce 2 shadows with it, but the shadows would disappear in an instant, so a high realm warrior can detect your real body in a short time. The electric shift can speed you up as fast as lightning, but it consumes a lot of energy. You need to use it cautiously. Phantom shift, electric shift. Shi Yan's eyes sparkled as he heard about the 2 shifts. He knew the phantom shift was merely a martial skill that couldn't compare to the phantom martial spirit of the Zhuo family. Once the phantom martial spirit of the Zhuo family was triggered, the phantom could own the warrior's consciousness, so even a high-level warrior couldn't detect which is the real body. The phantom martial spirit of the Zhuo family can change the outcome of a battle greatly. In a battle, once the Zhuo family member used the phantom martial spirit, his adversary couldn't distinct the phantom and the real body. So the phantom martial spirit was a good weapon for escape. The phantom shift was a far cry from the phantom martial spirit of the Zhuo family because it disappeared in such a short time. In a battle, the result is decided in an instant. So if one could baffle his enemy for a moment and took the chance to attack, the phantom shift could guarantee one's success. The electric shift could enhance one's speed like lightning, but it took too much energy. Once the electric shift was triggered, one would lose a lot of profound chi even though he could approach the enemy in a flash. To escape with the help of the electric shift when you encounter a formidable enemy would be a good choice. If the enemy was too strong, most profound chi couldn't do any help. However, with the electric shift, a little profound chi could make a difference. Shi Yan's eyes were shining brightly as he quietly listened to the ice-cold flame about the phantom shift and the electric shift and figured how to master them. I have told you how to train in it. These are the 2 basic shifts so you can handle them. With a little training, you can master it. But the 7 shadow shifts demand strict body condition. Warriors in the ancient times had strong bodies, so if you want to train in it, you should first strengthen your body. The martial spirit that you can trigger in a short time must be from the ancient times and requires a strong body. Take more time to communicate with the earth core flame and train with its power. The ice-cold flame conveyed its consciousness to Shi Yan through the blood vein ring. Since their deal was reached, the ice-cold flame began to help Shi Yan wholeheartedly. It knew it was great luck to met such a master. Only when Shi Yan reached Nirvana realm would it get out of the blood vein ring. I got it. I will withdraw my consciousness. Shi Yan replied, sat down cross-legged, and closed his eyes to feel the phantom shift and the electric shift. The phantom shift and the electric shift benefited each other. One should first trigger the electric shift to produce shadows, which means he had to master the electric shift first. The key point in training with the electric shift laid in the veins in one's legs. You have to make profound explosion happen when the profound chi flow in your veins. Then the profound chi would form the explosion of profound chi and violent strikes. With the violent strikes of the profound explosion, the electric shift could speed up the warrior to become as fast as lightning. Shi Yan held his breath and carefully triggered his profound chi to flow in his veins in the legs, looking for the spots for profound explosion. Time flied while he was training. Dada! Dada! Heavy steps came from afar. Shi Yan woke up and opened his eyes slowly. Shi Yan! Damn you! Shi Yubai cursed with deep hatred in his eyes, and then dashed toward Shi Yan with blood all over his body. Shi Yan frowned and stood up. What's it got to do with me? A dozen's evil Wonderland warriors went into the cave, but only 7 got out alive. Lin Nan and Peng Pei didn't appear. Only Shi Yubai, Xing Yidan, He Qingman, and 4 doleful disaster warriors, including Barty and Zhou Nan, came back. Taking a few glances at He Qingman and Shi Yubai, Shi Yan sighed. He knew those who didn't appear were all dead. Sister Nan stayed at the entrance to protect us. He Qingman's eyes turned moist. Sister Nan must be dead. She couldn't compete with the demon dwellers. Why are there so many able demon dwellers on the Black Stone Island? Those guys seem to be at the 3rd sky of Nirvana realm. All dead. Peng Pei is dead in the cave too. All dead. Xing Yidan looked pale and overwhelmed. Those demon dwellers are too able. Even at the same realm, they are much stronger than us. They all died miserably. Peng Pei was torn apart by the demon dwellers. He Qingman's voice was shaking. With a sigh, Shi Yan shook his head sadly. I knew it. I reminded you when I left. Why did you still stay in it? He Qingman wailed. It's all my fault. I thought if Sister Nan was there, we could kill those demon dwellers. If we had withdrawn early, no one would have died. It's all my fault. I caused Sister Nan's death. She sobbed. Xing Yidan also cried. Tears rained down from her pale face. We should have withdrawn early. If it were not for saving us, Sister Nan wouldn't have died. You. All because of you. If you had explained earlier, no one would have died. Shi Yubai stared at Shi Yan in hostility and exclaimed, You made them die! Who is it to blame? Shi Yan held his expression and said coldly, I firstly reminded He Qingman, then Lin Nan. I told them not to stay there any longer. I also warned you. You didn't believe me. Who is to blame? It's you. Shi Yubai shouted and flew toward Shi Yan with a murderous look. Chapter 201. I'm your elder brother. Chapter 201. I'm your elder brother. Shi Bai went insane. He put the blame on Shi Yan after the disaster in the quarry. Shi Yan's behavior in the cave had irritated Shi Bai, and now Shi Yan's attitude made him even more angrier. So he made up his mind to teach Shi Yan a lesson. He Qing Man, Sheng Yidan, and the others were still mourning. It was too late when they realized that they needed to stop Shi Bai from assaulting Shi Yan. Just like a beast, Shi Bai's body was covered with yellow light. Meanwhile, golden light balls flew out from his hands. These big golden balls contained great power. Shi Yan's expression shifted. Without further thinking, he triggered his petrification martial spirit as well as the dark light shield and entered the second sky of Rampage. Shi Bai was at the second sky of Earth Realm, which was one level higher than Shi Yan. Shi Yan would be easily killed if he was not careful. With qi gushing into his body, Shi Yan's look suddenly changed as a brutal and murderous smell pervaded around him. Around Shi Yan, the smell rippled and formed a strong wave. He Qing Man and Sheng Yidan stopped crying and looked to Shi Yan in surprise, shocked by him. Boom, boom, boom. One after another, golden balls kept striking to Shi Yan and exploded around him. Shi Yan's dark light shield broke at once as his body flew up into the air and he spurted a mouthful of blood. Just by one strike, Shi Yan was wounded, his entails hurting severely. Being one level higher than Shi Yan, Shi Bai struck with all his strength. He wanted Shi Yan to die. However, Shi Yan was not dead. Shi Yan stood up after he landed on the ground, and he said firmly, "Shi Bai, I won't forget it. You will still remember me when you go to hell." Shi Bai gritted. "We would have been safe if you didn't come to the Blackstone Island. We wouldn't have lost so much if it weren't for you." He put all the blame on Shi Yan, so he had an excuse to kill him. Shi Bai didn't stop, and his face turned red while his eyes showed yellow light. More impressive power bursting in his body. Shi Bai dashed like lightning toward Shi Yan again. This time he didn't use the golden light balls, but flew straight to Shi Yan, so that even Shi Yan couldn't see his trail clearly. Since he was one level higher than Shi Yan, and he was using all his strength, their difference was rather obvious. Shi Yan regretted that he didn't ask for martial skills from the ice-cold flame earlier. If he had mastered the electric shift and the shadow shift, he could now teleport and avoid this strike. Sadly, he was much slower than Shi Bai and couldn't even see Shi Bai's trail clearly. Since he wasn't able to predict Shi Bai's abrupt attack, he couldn't construct the gravitational field in advance. And now it was too late. He knew it was not clever to shun. Endure it. Oh, you. Shi Yan bellowed and triggered all the negative energy in his body. He operated the seal of life and death at once. Bang, 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 bang. The seal of life and seal of death occurred from his palms and connected. The seal of life and death was formed. 7-hand prints flew out and struck toward Shi Bai. Its power was stronger than that of a disaster realm warrior exploding. Shi Bai realized how powerful the energy in the seal was, and without any hesitance, he froze the energy in his body. A yellow light pillar shot out from his chest, which was dazzling in everybody's eyes. The thick yellow light pillar struck on the seal of life and death, and the clashing power grounded all of the black stones in that area. In the small stones, Shi Yan's body flew out again, and then fell on the ground after moving an arc in the air. Shi Yan's chest was bleeding heavily, and his face had turned pale. As for Shi Bai, although he hadn't fallen down, his body was shaking greatly. His light pillar was so strong that even a warrior of the second sky of Earth Realm couldn't endure it. Although he was covered by blood, Shi Yan shook and stood up again. He was still alive. "Stop!" He Qing Man yelled. "Shi Bai, what the hell are you doing? You know it had nothing to do with him. What do you want? Don't you know he is from the Yang family?" Shi Bai's face changed slightly. Xing Yidan was shocked too as he looked at He Qing Man. He is from the Yang family. He was a lost child of the Yang family, and he came to the Endless Sea to see his family. At that moment, He Qing Man couldn't hide Shi Yan's identity. If he is hurt, the Yang family wouldn't spare us. Shi Yubai, stop attacking him. Humph. Here are all our people, so we can tell them he was killed by the demon dwellers. Even Sister Nan, a Nirvana realm warrior, was killed by them, not to mention a disaster realm warrior. Shi Yubai was literally insane. Regardless of He Qing Man's persuasion, he assaulted Shi Yan harder. Shi Yubai flew to Shi Yan again. Bastard, I must kill you, even if you are a Yang family member. No one would revenge you if you died on this island. Shi Yubai. He Qing Man yelled in anger, stop it now. Shi Yubai didn't listen to her. Instead, while she was yelling, he made up his mind to kill Shi Yan. In the evil wonderland, everybody knew that Shi Yubai admired He Qing Man. He always tortured those who were close to He Qing Man. He even did that to his own people, let alone Shi Yan, who was an outsider. Especially, he was stricken by Shi Yan when in the cave. At that moment, he decided to kill Shi Yan. Seeing Shi Yubai rushing up, Shi Yan's eyes turned cold, as he continued to refine the seal of life and death. Boom! Shi Yan flew back, and his chest bones were all broken. Pooh! Unexpectedly, Shi Yubai spurted mouthful of blood as well. Shi Yubai couldn't endure the power of the seal of death and life too. Shi Yubai quivered. He Qing Man and Xing Yidan were dumbstruck as they looked at Shi Yan in unbelievable eyes. Shi Yan was so tough. Under Shi Yubai's concessive strikes, he survived. Furthermore, his body was still stable, while Shi Yubai began to spit blood. Their close performance baffled He Qing Man and Xing Yidan. Kid, it's not surprising that you are from the Yang family. You are something. Shi Yubai stared at Shi Yan in hatred. If I don't kill you today, you will kill me someday. Thus, I have to kill you now at all cost. Shi Yubai, don't blame me if you continue. He Qing Man finally shouted and flew toward Shi Yubai. He Qing Man flew over and set her beautiful feet on the ground. When she wanted to fly again, she felt her feet were dragged by something. He Qing Man couldn't make a move. Her expression changed. He Qing Man looked around. Brother, what are you doing? Everybody was puzzled and began to look around. He Qing Man never called anyone brother, but one person. Siekue. Brother, when did you come? Xing Yidan was joyful. Not for long. I heard that Sister Nan died because of this guy, so I think he should die. A gloomy voice came from down the earth. The mysterious guy seemed to be under the ground, and the evil Wonderland warriors got relieved when they heard Siekue came. Brother is reasonable. Shi Yubai laughed and swaggered toward Shi Yan. Let me see, how long can you sustain? Longer than you. A heroic voice came from the sky, and a double-headed dragon appeared among the clouds. A huge silver sword flew across the sky and dashed in this direction. Among the silver light, the silver sword fell down and struck Shi Yubai into flesh paste. The huge silver sword killed Shi Yubai at once, then struck into the earth 3 meters, left to He Qing Man. The mountains and the earth shook at the same time. A slim young man in white appeared from the earth with a rigid face. There's some blood beside his mouth as he looked at the double-headed dragon. Xiao Yan, welcome to the Kiara Sea. A strong man on the double-headed dragon showed a broad smile to Shi Yan after he killed Shi Yubai. You are. Shi Yan was confused. I'm your elder brother, Yang Mu. The strong young man laughed and then looked to the evil Wonderland warriors proudly. In the Kiara Sea, us Yang family is the master. This is our place. Whoever goes against the Yang family must die. Translated by Wai. Chapter 202, Destroy the Mountain. Chapter 202 Destroy the Mountain. On the mountain top, the evil Wonderland warriors looked pale, while Siak Kuei popped up from the earth and looked at Yang Mu coldly. How dare you kill him? Why not? Yang Mu laughed, jumping off from the double-headed dragon and standing beside Shi Yan, and smiled to Shi Yan. You okay? I'm fine. Shi Yan shook his head with a smile. The third stage. Yang Mu was surprised as his eyes wandered on Shi Yan's chest. The wound on Shi Yan's chest was recovering slowly, but at a visible speed. Yeah. Shi Yan nodded. The disaster realm. Yang Mu didn't look at Siak Kuei, but mumbled to himself. It's unreasonable. Since he has the immortal martial spirit, Yang Mu knew it well. Generally, one needed to advance to the Earth realm to get to the third stage of the immortal martial spirit. Shi Yan was merely at the disaster realm, but his immortal martial spirit had already reached the third stage, which was rather abnormal. Yes, I'm at the second sky of disaster realm. Shi Yan nodded again. Yang Mu showed even more surprise in his eyes. Those evil Wonderland warriors, including Siak Kuei and He Qing Man, looked not at ease after Yang Mu showed up. Xing Yidan gazed at Shi Yan's chest, and then showed a little bitterness. Shi Yan's chest showed that he had the immortal martial spirit, so she knew now they had been all wrong. Shi Yan was a direct offspring of the Yang family. Shi Yubai was killed by Yang Mu, but the evil Wonderland warriors didn't dare to do anything, although they were angry. You killed our people, I will tell it to the family head. We won't spare you. Siak Kuei looked gloomy as he wiped the blood on his mouth corner. At this crucial moment, you killed your ally. I don't think you still need our help. Yang Mu sneered and shook his head. Just tell your family head. Let's see what will you do to us. You don't rule the evil Wonderland. If you leave the demon dwellers alone, you can expect more of them. Let's see how well your evil Wonderland fares. Siak Kuei's expression changed slightly. The demon dwellers had entered the Kiara Sea. Although they hated the Yang family most, it's tough for them to shake the Yang family. On the contrary, the evil Wonderland and the Xia family were the target of the demon dwellers because they were weaker. Even if the evil Wonderland and the Xia family didn't attack the demon dwellers, the latter would still cause trouble with them. Yang Mu smiled, took out a green pill, and handed it to Shi Yan. How are you now? Sure. Yan took the pill and swallowed it at once. He soon felt a warm sensation in his belly. The pill was mildly taking effect on his chest. This pill sped up the recovering of the wound as its power entangled the wound like slim strings. There are dozens of the demon dwellers on the Black Stone Island, including several experts at the second sky of Nirvana Realm. We entered the quarry and met the demon dwellers, Shi Yan explained briefly. Demon dwellers of the second sky of the Nirvana Realm? Yang Mu was a little surprised, as he nodded, his expression turning heavy. It seems to be tough now. It's out of expectation that Nirvana Realm demon dwellers appeared on this small island. They have made up their mind. Qing Man, you mean the Nirvana Realm demon dwellers were found by him. Siak Kuei was listening to He Qing Man's explanation, causing him to frown. He Qing Man nodded slowly and explained in a low voice. He has a certain treasure that helps him to detect the demon dwellers. He was the first to find the demon dwellers in the cave. It's just that we didn't pay attention to it. Sister Nan, Sister Nan. He Qing Man's voice shook again. The demon dwellers were first found by you. Yang Mu's hearing was great. He glanced at Shi Yan in surprise. After seeing Shi Yan nodded, Yang Mu laughed and praised. You are something. Ha. No wonder Great-Grandpa said you are extraordinary. This time I came because Great-Grandpa sent me here to take you back. Shi Yan beamed. Just with the help of a treasure. The Great-Grandpa was the head of the Yang family, King Yangqing. He Qing Man didn't show any surprise, but Siak Kuei and Xing Yidan's expression changed. Especially for Sheng Yidan, he regretted a lot for not having noticed that Shi Yan was special. Whoever drew King Yangqing's attention must be something, and would probably be an expert in the endless sea. If they knew of this earlier, they would have listened to Shi Yan and avoided the battle with the demon dwellers. Xiao Yan, let's go. After killing the demon dwellers, we will go back to the immortal island at once. You came from so far away. It's time for you to go home. Yang Mu whistled, and then the double-headed dragon landed on the mountain top. Yang Mu mounted to the double-headed dragon, and then waved at Shi Yan, let's go. Though confused, Shi Yan mounted the double-headed dragon, and observed the double-headed dragon as his eyes sparkled. The double-headed dragon was 7 meters long, containing the power of ice and flame in its 2 heads. The back of the dragon was as hard as iron, and its claws were sharp. The level 6 demon beast, the double-headed dragon, had 2 heads and can spurt ice and flame. It's one of the most able demon beasts in the Yang family. Before Shi Yan came to the endless sea, Xiao Honey had told him that he could get a double-headed dragon if he was acknowledged by the family head. Shi Yan remembered it, so when he saw the real double-headed dragon, he was excited. Haha, stop looking at it. You will have your own mount. Yang Mu laughed. Great-grandpa had chosen a grumpy demon beast to test you. Prove that you can tame it. Not the double-headed dragon. Shi Yan was surprised. No, it's more frightening than the double-headed dragon. Hee, and great-grandpa wants to test you with that demon beast. Xiao Yan, be prepared and don't be frightened by it. Not the double-headed dragon? Then what demon beast is that? I will leave it for you to find it out yourself. As they chatted, they mounted the double-headed dragon, while Xia Kuei, Qing Man, and others looked at them, frowning with strange expressions. There are Nirvana realm demon dwellers in the cave. Xia Kuei asked Sheng Yidan. Of course. Sheng Yidan nodded. That's why Sister Nan was killed. Xia Kuei nodded slightly and sneered. Let me see how will Yang Mu kill those the demon dwellers. Yeah. He Qing Man was confused too. Yang Mu is able, but he is merely at the 3rd sky of Earth Realm, so he can't win against those Nirvana realm demon dwellers. Let's go. Yang Mu laughed, urged the double-headed dragon, and flew to the quarry Shi Yan pointed at. Be, brother. Sure, Yan was not used to calling someone brother. Those demon dwellers are at the Nirvana realm. Can you really deal with it? Don't worry. Yang Mu looked calm. I will show you the sky bomb of the Yang family. I have 2 sky bombs. To kill the Nirvana realm demon dwellers, with one of it is not a waste. The sky bomb. Sure, Yan knew Yang Mu was doing it for no reason. Soon, sitting on the double-headed dragon, Shi Yan and Yang Mu arrived above the quarry. Detect whether the demon dwellers are inside. Yang Mu stood up on the double-headed dragon, and then looked down at the quarry below him. Sure, Yan slowly nodded, took out the soul-gathering pearl and began to percept. A heavy smell of hatred came from deep within the quarry, and spirit waves approached as Shi Yan was searching. Shi Yan's expression changed as he withdrew the spirit power from the soul-gathering pearl. It's still here. Then good. Yang Mu laughed as his ring shone once, and then a fist-like golden ball appeared in his palm. Under Yang Mu's control, that golden ball became golden light and struck the quarry. Bang, bang, bang. The power of a blast came from the quarry. The sky bomb blast was so strong that it almost cracked the sky. Meanwhile, golden waves rippled in the sky. Then, just in front of Shi Yan, the quarry exploded into ashes. Among the golden light, the quarry crashed and was destroyed by the sky bomb in an instant. Translated by Wai. Chapter 203 Arrival. Chapter 203 Arrival. The quarry where the Black Scale Tribe demon dwellers hid, it was straight up blown to the ground by one sky bomb. Even the earth began to deeply sink in. Sure, Yen, sat on the body of the double-headed dragon. He was stunned as he was shocked by the frightening, exploding power of the sky bomb. One sky bomb destroyed an entire mountain. Such power was truly unheard of. At this moment, he got a deeper understanding of the Yang family's background. "All right, let's go." Yang Mu looked below for a moment, clapped his hands, and said leisurely, "Unless there's a strong sky realm demon dweller, no one can escape from the sky bomb." Sure, Yen stroked the soul-gathering pearl, and then spread out his mind power to probe around. Indeed, he could no longer sense a single trace of soul fluctuation. All the Black Scale Tribe demons in the quarry should have been crushed by this one blow. No more traces of life came from the quarry. While nodding, Shi Yen smiled. "This is quite a big movement. Haha, that's how the sky bomb is. Forging one sky bomb requires more than 70 precious materials. Many of these materials also come from the demon area, and only us, the Yang family, can obtain those precious materials because we often wage war in the demon area. Even if we told the forging method of the sky bomb to other families, they won't be able to gather all of the materials to make it." Yang Mu said proudly, "We're returning to Immortal Island now." Shi Yen pondered for a moment, and then asked, "Last time I heard a Shura blood guard say that a gate of heaven from the Immortal Island region was at the peak of battling. How is the situation now?" "Still fighting, but the aggressiveness of the attacks from the demon dwellers has lessened. They probably also cannot afford the losses." Yang Mu's expression suddenly darkened. This time the actions of the demon dwellers were indeed very strange. They risked their lives to come through the nodes in space and to spread throughout every corner of the Kiara Sea. I wonder what their true intentions are. How is Xia Xinyan? Shi Yen hesitated for a moment and then asked. Yang Mu's eyes flickered for a second. Then he smiled wryly and said, "The reason why I came to find you is also because of her. The master of the Xia family brought Xia Xinyan to Immortal Island, asking our Yang family to take responsibility. AI, this thing is really hard to deal with. Back in the day, this situation happened to someone from the Xia family. It's almost unsolvable. No methods can be found at all. But Uncle Amo said you have a way. I don't know if it's true or not, but Great-Grandpa seems to value you quite a lot. Since I was doing business around this area, I got his message telling me to escort you back to Immortal Island as soon as possible." Pausing for a moment, Yang Mu looked at Shi Yen with a strange expression. "Do you really have a way to solve Xia Xinyan's problem?" "Yes." Shi Yen nodded. Yang Mu's eyes brightened. "Haha, if it's really like that, then there should be no problem. What you don't know is that girl Xia Xinyan is the treasure of the Xia family. She got into that kind of situation to save you, causing all of the Xia family members to become furious. They came straight to the Immortal Island to cause trouble, forcing Great-Grandpa to give an explanation. Don't worry, I'm sure I can awake her." "All right." Yang Mu didn't continue asking for details. He rode the double-headed dragon and made it speed up. The double-headed dragon was like an arrow that escaped its bow, shooting through the clouds above the Blackstone Island and moving into the distance. On the Blackstone Island, Xia Kuei, Hiching Man, and the rest stood above the mountain. From the distance, they looked at the quarry that was now blown to the ground. Their expressions were inexplicably shocked. "The sky bomb." Xia Kuei took in a deep breath. Yang Mu used a single sky bomb and straight up destroyed that entire mountain. This is the end of this mission. Under the frightening power of the sky bomb, even a Nirvana realm demon dweller wouldn't be able to survive. Yang Mu is sure willing to sacrifice a lot. He even brought out the sky bomb. He Qingman's face was sullen as she sighed and said, "Our losses are so big this time." Yang Mu, Shi Yen, Xia Kuei's expression was dark and cold. He murmured under his breath, "I'll remember you too." He Qing Man glimpsed at Xia Kuei and felt even more worried inside. She knew Xia Kuei's personality. She knew that Siakue was the favored child of the evil Wonderland, and that he was unusually malicious. Once he starts hating someone, he would never let it go easily. We should leave too. Shin Idan put up a mournful face and stopped looking towards the sky. She blamed herself. If we knew earlier that Sher Yan's background was this big, then we would have definitely valued his words more. We wouldn't have had such great losses. Aye, let's go. Siakue snorted coldly. His eyes were cold. When did you arrive at Blackstone Island? On the double-headed dragon. Sher Yan asked casually. The appearances of Yang Mu and Siakue were both very sudden. There was no warning or sign. They just all suddenly appeared. This made Sher Yan very confused. I came earlier than Siakue did. Yang Mu smilingly explained. After I arrived above Blackstone Island, I didn't know which was you at first. Then, when I noticed you and Sher Yubai dueling, I finally knew you from their conversations. At that time, I was going to get involved immediately, but I also wanted to see your capabilities. Thus, I just hid in the clouds and watched. You only came over after Siakue. When Siakue arrived at Blackstone Island, he didn't appear immediately. Instead, he used his martial spirit to hide underground. After you and Sher Yubai dueled for a while, he finally sneaked towards you from underground. When I noticed his tracks, I already started to secretly prepare to intervene at any time. Yang Mu smilingly explained for a while and then laughed. But boy, you are quite amazing. That Sher Yubai is a whole realm higher than you, but he couldn't kill you with all of his strength. Up above, I was originally going to intervene immediately, but seeing that you were safe and sound, but out of curiosity, I just continued watching. I wanted to see how long you could hold up for. If it weren't for Siakue, who couldn't help but intervene, I might have waited for even longer until that Sher Yubai attacked you once more, to see if you could have still held up. Sher Yan smiled wryly. I probably wouldn't be able to continue holding up. It's hard to say. Yang Mu revealed a thoughtful smile. You think I wouldn't know that there are still unused powers inside your body? I've long heard that inside your body, there is still the star martial spirit of the three god sect. Although you can't use that star martial spirit against your enemy, but in crucial moments, it would still have no problem taking a fatal blow for you. The star martial spirit. Sher Yan dazed. If Yang Mu hadn't mentioned it, he almost forgot that inside his body, there still existed the star martial spirit. He quietly sensed for a moment. He realized that the star martial spirit still continued to endlessly absorb star power and had never stopped. At his heart, there were spots of glittering starlight. They seemed to already have absorbed quite a lot of star power. The strength of that star power seemed to be just as vigorous as his profound chi at the moment. Unfortunately, this extra power was still difficult for him to use. Dude, you are really something different. Our Yang family has fought with the three-god sect for hundreds of years, but you were able to obtain the star martial spirit. Hee, if the sun god of the three-god sect knew that the star martial spirit of the last star god fell upon you, I wonder what he would be thinking. Yang Mu exclaimed, Oh, right, you said. Great-grandpa prepared a demon beast for me. What exactly is that demon beast? Sure, Yen was more curious about this thing. I'm not telling you. Yang Mu purposely hid the information. What level is it? You'll know when you see it. Is it as strong as your level 6 double-headed dragon? Stronger than mine. However, you have to be able to tame it. Yang Mu was bothered too much and revealed some information in frustration. That thing isn't from our dimension. It comes from the demon area. It's a strange hybrid that has the ability to continuously evolve. Sher Yan's eyes brightened. Don't get happy too soon. I don't think you can tame it. Yang Mu's expression was strange. He shook his head and said, I don't know what great-grandpa is thinking. How can he leave that thing for you to tame? you're only in the disaster realm. Maybe with just one encounter, you will be killed by that thing. Big brother, we're already returning to the immortal island, and I'm still not familiar with important figures in the Yang family. Shouldn't you introduce them to me a little? All right, I'll roughly explain it to you and tell you about the people you definitely have to know. In the Yang family, there were 4 generations of people in total at the moment. Yang Qingdi was the head of the family as the first generation. Below Yang Qingdi, there were 3 sons, separately known as Yang Feng, Yang Xiao, and Yang Lao. This was the second generation of the Yang family. Among them, Yang Xiao was the father of Yang Hai. Nominally, he was also the grandfather of Shi Yan. 50 years ago, he died in battle in the 4th demon area. Yang Feng and Yang Lao each had 2 sons. They were Yang Zhua, Yang Niao, Yang Xiu, and Yang Qi. This was the 3rd generation of the Yang family. Under Yang Zhua, there was Yang Mu and Yang Zhou. Yang Niao had 1 daughter, Yang Shui. Yang Xiu had 1 son, Yang Ku. Finally, Yang Qi had 1 daughter, Yang Meng. The 5 people, Yang Mu, Yang Zhou, Yang Shui, Yang Ku, and Yang Meng, were the 4th generation of the Yang family. Of course, in the direct descendants of the Yang family, there wasn't only these people. However, the rest of them, because they didn't have the Yang family's immortal martial spirit inside their bodies, they weren't included into this category. The 1st generation, Yang Qingdi, was in the spirit realm. Below him, the 2nd generations, Yang Feng and Yang Lao, were both in the sky realm. Even below that, the 3rd generations, Yang Zhua, Yang Niao, Yang Xiu, and Yang Qi, were almost all in the nirvana realm. Then lastly, the 4th generations, Yang Mu, Yang Zhou, Yang Shui, Yang Ku, and Yang Meng, were mostly in the earth and disaster realms. In the 4 generations of the Yang family, between each of the generations, they seemed to only be 1 realm apart. It was very strange. This also made Shi Yan very surprised. He couldn't help but ask further. However, before he could ask, he got his answer from Yang Mu. Before the earth realm, there are the elementary, nascent, human, and disaster realms. These realms belong to normal warrior families and can be a very long cultivation process. However, to our Yang family, these 4 realms are not hard to pass. The precious resources controlled by our Yang family can make the breakthrough of these 4 realms speed up by multiple times. As long as you have a determined will and outstanding talent, under the catalyzing of our family's precious treasures, you can quickly reach the 3rd sky of disaster realm in a matter of 10 years. However, starting from when you break through to the earth realm from the disaster realm, if you want to keep reaching higher, you can no longer just rely on pills and elixirs. At that time, the breakthrough of realms will slow down. Just breaking through a small realm might need more than 10 years of time. That is why, in our generation, most can quickly step into the earth realm. But breakthroughs from that time on will become slower and slower. Is that so? Shi Yan quietly nodded. He seemed to be enlightened by the information. The 2 sat on top of the double-headed dragon and chatted the whole way. They went towards the immortal island at great speed. After more than 10 days, under the directions of Yang Mu, Shi Yan, who was sitting on top of the double-headed dragon, finally saw the legendary immortal island. Chapter 204, The Yang Family. Chapter 204, The Yang Family. In the lingering mists and clouds, a vast and enormous island silently floated in the middle of the pure blue sea. On the island stood many grand mountains that went straight through the clouds. Looking down from the top, it could be seen that there were blocks of spirit farming fields everywhere on the island where countless precious medicinal ingredients were planted. Many rare and strange demon beasts and spirit beasts were domesticated and spread around all corners of the island. Vigorous spirit energy continuously circulated on the island like streams of flowing water. The natural energies here were extremely filling. Before landing on the island, even just sucking in a breath of air gave off a refreshing feeling and made people relax all over. The island was extremely big. It might have been several times the size of the entire merchant union. It was not so much an island, but more like an entire piece of mainland. Sitting on top of the double-headed dragon, Shi Yan looked into the distance and actually couldn't see the end. In his view, all he saw were endless mountains. On top of each mountain, there seemed to be the shadows of people. This is Immortal Island. Yang Mu smiled, and then pointed at an area overflowing with demon energy behind him as he explained to Shi Yan. Over there is a gate of heaven leading to the fourth demon area. Our battles with the demon dwellers also happen in that area. Usually, even in the areas around the Immortal Island, there can possibly be demon dwellers wandering about. Recently, the demon dwellers have encountered quite a lot of losses too. They temporarily ceased fire, thus they didn't continue to make trouble. Shi Yan was surprised. He looked towards the direction Yang Mu was pointing at. He could only see that in that area there were overflowing amounts of demon energy fluctuating. The vigorous demon energy covered that place completely. Shi Yan looked closely and then realized that he could see nothing at all. That place is temporarily covered by demon energy. Don't waste your time to look through it because you won't see anything. Yang Mu smiled. Indeed, I can't see anything. While nodding, Shi Yan frowned. In that area, are there still people stationed? Although he couldn't see the situation there, Shi Yan could still vaguely sense that there were extremely fierce energy fluctuations. Based on his senses, there must have been countless numbers of strong warriors there, and there were definitely some top warriors from the Yang family hiding in there. Of course, Uncle Mo and the rest are all guarding that area. Yang Mu's expression was slightly serious. I received some news a while back saying that Great-Grandpa went into the demon area again. Reportedly, Great-Grandpa entered into the demon area this time to talk directly with the Demon King Busun. Talking directly with the Demon King? Shi Yan was shocked. Legend has it that the Demon King Bo-Sun was in the third sky of Spirit Realm. He had already got 1 foot in the True God Realm. From Shi Yan's understanding about the demon dwellers, he knew that demon dwellers of the same realm were much stronger than humans. Although Yang Qingdi's reputation was widely known in the Endless Sea, he was still, after all, only in the first sky of Spirit Realm. If he were to really go face-to-face with the Demon King Bo-Sun, wouldn't it be extremely dangerous and risky? Great-Grandpa is only in the first sky of Spirit Realm, but he had all sorts of mysterious powers on him. If he dares to encounter the Demon King Busun, then he naturally has a full grasp on things. Yang Mu smiled proudly. 50 years ago, when Great-Grandpa was only in the third sky of Sky Realm, he was already able to skip realms and kill a demon master who was under the command of the Demon King. That Demon King was in the first sky of Spirit Realm at the time. Now that Great-Grandpa stepped into the Spirit Realm, his magical powers are even more far-reaching. Plus, the Demon King Busun is not in his best condition. If Great-Grandpa were to really encounter him, it shouldn't be hard for Great-Grandpa come out unharmed. The Demon King Busun is not in his best condition. Shi Yan dazed for a moment, dumbfounded. Reportedly, 100 years ago, Busun got into some trouble when cultivating a demon skill, so he has been recovering in the Cave of 1,000 Demons. In the past many years, he has only been using his 3 skeletal avatars to move outside. His true form had never left the Cave of 1,000 Demons. This time, the reason why Great-Grandpa went in the demon area should be for Uncle Shao. I wonder if he can bring Uncle Shao out alive. Once he heard Yang Mu mention Shao Hani, Shi Yan's face immediately became sullen. He sighed inwardly out of frustration. Don't be too sad about the thing with Uncle Shao. Even if you weren't there, that Bo-Sun still would have went for Uncle Shao sooner or later. Last time in the demon area, Uncle Shao heavily wounded the youngest son of Bo-Sun. At that time, Bo-Sun had spoken out, saying that he would teach Uncle Shao a lesson. Even if Uncle Shao wasn't with you that time, he would still be attacked by Bo Sun. Yang Mu comforted him. As the two talked, but the double-headed dragon did not rest. It kept flying above the immortal island. Below them were mountains that stood right up into the clouds with overflowing amounts of spirit energy, and tens of thousands of spirit farming fields beside them. Demon beasts were cultivated in many different areas. Many nascent and human realm warriors rode all different types of demon beasts on the island, either flying in the air or sprinting on the ground. They were all extremely lively and full of energy. On the immortal island, there are now nearly 10,000 warriors. However, many warriors are in the nascent, human, and disaster realms. There are not many warriors above the earth realm, only about 1,000 of them. The warriors here do not represent all of our Yang family's forces. Our Yang family controls hundreds of islands. On those islands, there are also strong warriors from our family there. When they arrived on Immortal Island, Yang Mu started to explain to Shi Yan about the situation on the island again. He detailedly explained the current situation on the Immortal Island. The Immortal Island was the holy land of the Kiara Sea, the headquarters of the Yang family. In the entire Endless Sea, the Immortal Island was considered as a holy land for cultivation. The spirit energy on the island was vigorous. No matter what type of spirit medicinal plant was planted, it would be very easy for them to grow. Because of the vigorous spirit energy, any warrior that cultivated here would need much less effort to succeed. The profound qi gathering speed here was much faster than in other places. The double-headed dragon entered into the Immortal Island, flew for another half a day, and then finally landed in an area with the most concentrated spirit energy. Look down. That valley is the root of our Yang family. Yang Mu suddenly shouted lightly. Shi Yan's expression shook as he lowered his head and looked closely. In 9 grand, enormous mountains, there was an open flat field. On the flat field, there stood many majestic palaces. Those palaces were all built with different enormous solid green iron stones, white jade stones, and fire gold stones. Under the sun, those rare stones gleamed and gave off bright lights. Glancing towards them, the palaces below seemed to be covered in rainbow godly lights, making them look like a land of immortal beings. Look closely at those 9 mountains. Yang Mu reminded. Shi Yan dazed. He then looked towards a several thousand zhang tall mountain. His eyes were focused. This enormous mountain was wide and magnificent. The mountain was covered with all sorts of mysterious medicinal herbs. Under Shi Yan's view, he could clearly see the stream-like flows of spirit energy. They seemed to be attracted by the enormous mountain, and actually gathered towards here from all directions of the Immortal Island, while silently flowing into this mountain, as if they were supplying nutrients for the mountain. His eyes shifted, and he then shockingly realized that it was the same for the other 8 mountains. The lingering spirit energy on the Immortal Island seemed to be attracted by these 9 mountains. They gathered towards here endlessly, and then flowed into these mountains, nourishing these mountains. Many caves appeared on the sides of the 9 mountains. From inside those caves, there were occasionally a few figures that appeared. They seemed to be cultivating heavily inside the caves. After they came out, they seemed like they haven't adjusted to the sunlight, for they all squinted their eyes and quietly frowned. These 9 mountains can be said as the most precious place in our family. At the heart of the mountains, there are many magical things. The reason why our Yang family can be so mighty for so long is closely tied to these 9 mountains. Yang Mu pointed out, because of the spirit herbs on the mountain? Shi Yan was surprised. Not only the spirit herbs. Yang Mu smiled. You will know why very soon. I think later you will enter into one of the mountains. You need to awaken Xin Yan first, and then naturally you will need to find a quiet cultivation spot. I can promise that in the entire Endless Sea, there won't be many places with a better cultivation environment than our place here. Shi Yan was perplexed, but he didn't ask much. let's go down and see our second grandpa. I think during this time, second grandpa must have been so annoyed by Xia Shenchuan from the Xia family that he's going to lose his patience soon. Yang Mu laughed as he rode the double-headed dragon and flew straight down towards the grand palace below. On the way, Shi Yan already knew that Yang Qingdi went to the demon area. His oldest son Yang Feng was not guarding at the entrance to the gate of heaven. On the Immortal Island, the current person in charge was the second son Yang Lao, also nominally counted as the second grandpa of Shi Yan. Although Xia Shenchuan from the Xia family was the current head of the Xia family, he was not in the same generation as Yang Qingdi. Instead, he was from the generation of Yang Feng and Yang Lao, and was only in the second sky of the Sky Realm. The previous head of the Xia family was also in the first sky of Spirit Realm, but he encountered trouble with the reincarnation martial spirit and was often in the state of soul chaos and deliriousness. Because of that, the last head of the Xia family had passed the spot of the head of the family to Xia Shenchuan early. He put all of his heart into cultivation in an attempt to solve his occasional deliriousness. Xia Shenchuan was the grandpa of Xia Xinyan. He had always treated Xia Xinyan like she was his most precious treasure. When he picked up Xia Xinyan from Firecloud Island and was certain that Xia Xinyan's soul injuries were exactly the same as that person from back in the day, he was immediately enraged and directly brought Xia Xinyan to Immortal Island, determined to get an explanation from the Yang family. At the time, after Yang Qingdi asked Mo Duanhuan for details, he knew from Mo Duanhuan that Shi Yan had a way to save Xia Xinyan. Thus, he let Xia Shenchuan stay on Immortal Island and wait for Shi Yan to come and fix this trouble. Although Xia Shenchuan was unsatisfied, but he couldn't talk back to Yang Qingdi, so he could only wait on the island like what Yang Qingdi told him. Just like that, he waited for more than 4 months. "Hello, young Master Mu." "Hello, young Master Mu." On Yang Mu's way, many warriors all respectfully nodded in greeting. None of these warriors were in low realms. Most were in the disaster or earth realms. Their presences were vigorous and seemed to be much stronger than other warriors of the same realms. Shi Yan followed behind Yang Mu and stayed silent. He only quietly released his consciousness to sense around and felt awed on the inside. The warriors that appeared here, considered under the same realm, they were all much stronger than other warriors out there. The spirits in their bodies were extremely outstanding, and their life forces were very vigorous. Even the meridians and flesh of their bodies were extraordinarily sturdy. Their profound qi was also more refined and vigorous. Shi Yan believed that any of the human realm first sky warriors here would be much stronger than a warrior of the same realm in the Merchant Union. In a fight with people of the same realms, a person here could fight against 2 people out there. The more he observed, the more Shi Yan was stunned. He became more and more expectant to see the capabilities of the Yang family. Please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. That He Ching man was a talent in which the evil Wonderland put much focus into training her. She was 24 years old and now was also only in the first sky of the Earth realm. In comparison, Shi Yan slowly started to realize why the Yang family was the true master in the Kiara Sea. In the Merchant Union, Bai Ming-su could be counted as the most outstanding young talent. He was almost 30 years old, but still was only in the disaster realm. Compared with Yang Meng here, the so-called God-blessed talent Bai Ming-su was not even worth mentioning. Boom, boom, boom! Yang Meng suddenly exerted her strength and tried to fly in the water pool. At her back, bright light was forming. Wings that were formed by pure, profound qi quickly formed at a speed that was visible to the naked eye. In a mere moment, behind Yang Meng's back, profound qi wings appeared. She controlled the wings and forcefully flapped them, slowly floating to the surface of the pool water. Her delicate little body soon got out of the surface of the water. Plop! Just when she flew about 3 meters away from the pool surface, Yang Meng's face suddenly flashed with panic. Her power seemed to have ran out, and she fell straight into the pool. All right, this is the end of the cultivation today. On the side of the pool, Yang Lao frowned and shouted. His big hand grabbed in the air and directly lifted Yang Meng out of the water pool. Crack! Crack! Once Yang Meng dropped to the ground, the shackle on her limbs automatically came off. She dejectedly sat on the floor and said faintly, "Come on, why does it still not work? I was so close. Why can I never step past this point?" Yang Lao let out a chuckle. He shook his head and said, "You little girl, you're sure greedy. You only cultivated for 1.5 years, and you already want to finish cultivating this Sky Phoenix formula. Is there such an easy thing in the world? Grandpa, didn't you say that with my talent I can successfully cultivate it really fast?" Yang Meng snorted and pouted her lips. "Liar! You said I would be able to fly really soon if after a little more time I still can't fly. Then I won't cultivate this anymore. It's so much trouble." Yang Lao's face looked like there was nothing he could do. "Meng, just cultivate this for half a year more, and I promise that you'll be able to fly. Believe in your big brother. I am definitely more accurate than second grandpa. He's old. It's normal that he can misjudge things." At this moment, Yang Mu finally brought Shi Yan and walked this way. He laughed out loud. "You brat!" Yang Lao threw a glare at Yang Mu. He was just about to curse out, but suddenly froze. He looked deeply at Shi Yan and said, "Boy, you should be Shi Yan." Shi Yan smilingly nodded. "Shi Yan." Yang Meng suddenly jumped and stood up. She giggled softly. "Ha! You're only in the disaster realm. You're not even as good as me. Now, I'm not the worst one, haha." In the Yang family, because Yang Meng was the youngest, her level of cultivation was the weakest, and only in the first sky of Earth realm. Every time she would be mocked by Yang Mu and the rest. Now that she suddenly discovered that Shi Yan was only in the disaster realm, she immediately felt more balanced inside. She clapped her hands together and smiled happily. Pointing at Shi Yan, said, "Hee hee, you're not even as strong as I am. Let's fight in the future. Don't worry, I'll hold back on you." The children of the Yang family don't just cultivate endlessly. They often clash together and motivated each other, using real life fighting to gain experience. Because of the existence of the immortal martial spirit, the fights between Yang family children would not stop at a certain point. They often had situations where there was blood spilling. Yang Meng was the weakest. In these years, every time she fought with Yang Mu and the others, she never got hurt because they would hold back. However, she had never won either. She had long heard the news about Shi Yan's arrival. Now that she saw Shi Yan was here, and only in the disaster realm, she immediately had the idea of getting some satisfaction through Shi Yan, and she immediately got happy. The look in Yang Lao's eyes was deep. He stared at Shi Yan for a moment, then lightly nodded and smiled. "I heard that you are pretty good. Come, come, let me see how good you are." Shi Yan was stunned. "Very easy." Yang Lao chuckled maliciously, for beams of bright light suddenly flew out of his palm. Those 4 beams of light abruptly sank into those 4 shackles. "Put on those shackles and run around the pool 5 times. Haha, the second sky of Disaster Realm. Close enough, close enough." The shackles that came off of Yang Meng suddenly flew up and went to wrap around Shi Yan. "Haha, little Yan, second grandpa is testing you. Don't make him disappointed." Yang Mu laughed and clapped. "I believe you definitely can pass. Second grandpa, if little Yan can run 5 laps. What prize do you have for him?" "Prize?" The smile on Yang Lao's lips didn't change. He nodded. "Of course there's a prize if he runs 5 full laps. I will call the shots and give him 3 nutrition pills." "Haha, isn't this kid close with that girl from the Xiao family?" The nutrition pill sure has special effects for the reincarnation martial spirit of the Xiao family. Shi Yan's eyes suddenly brightened. He listened to Xia Xinyan talk about the nutrition pill before, This was an elixir that could recover profound qi in a short period of time. Every time Xia Xinyan used her reincarnation martial spirit, her body would be heavily damaged. In normal situations, she would need 1 to 2 months to recover. But if she had a nutrition pill, she would be able to recover overnight. If Xia Xinyan had 3 more nutrition pills in her hand, then she would be able to use the reincarnation martial spirit 3 more times and would not worry about the counter damage. Thinking about that, Shi Yan spread out his limbs and stood still. He cooperatively let those shackles lock onto his limbs, and his face was full of smiles. Didn't know that you were a lover boy. Yang Lao chuckled. But if you want my nutrition pills, it won't be that easy. Not only do you have to run 5 full laps, I'm also timing you. I'll give you 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, you must finish. Then I'll give you the nutrition pills. If you drag this onto late at night, that doesn't count. 5 minutes. Yang Meng's cute eyes blinked. Grandpa, you're so naughty. It's so hard to get something from your hands. When I just stepped into the Earth realm, dragging these 4 big things, it still took me a minute to run 1 lap around the pool. He's only in the 2nd sky of Disaster Realm. Your great-grandpa said it. This kid has excellent talents. His body is different from others. Yang Lao's eyes were gleaming with peculiar lights. He smiled. Your great-grandpa said under the same realm he is much stronger than you all. Hee, if your great-grandpa said that, then he has his reasons. I believe there has to be something different on this kid. I'll wait and see. Shi Yan was secretly surprised. Yang Qingdi had never met him, but he seemed to know everything about him. He even knew that his body was different from others. Could it be that Yang Qingdi really does know everything? Shi Yan became more and more curious about this great-grandpa that he had never met. He didn't know exactly how many magical powers he had, such that he could predict his well-being with just 3 drops of immortal blood. Little Yen, stop thinking about random things now. Prepare to use all the strength you've got. Yang Mu loves to see the world plunged into chaos. He laughed and said, Remember, you only have 5 minutes. Don't hide your power. It's time to show it off. Kids, start. Yang Lao lightly shouted. Shi Yan hesitated no more. He roared and abruptly stirred the negative energies. Aye. Chapter 206, I bet. Chapter 206, I bet. Sponsored by David Deach. Dong 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 dong. For disc-like irons rolled over the edge of the pool like tanks. On the hard ground of the pool side, gravels were swirling. The irons grinded everything in their paths, leaving 4 long, deep ravines. With 2,000 kilograms heavy weights on his arms and ankles, Shi Yan's body shrank slightly, which suddenly bursted with an extreme explosion. The first sky of Rampage. Inside his meridians, negative energy boiled and filled his limbs, doubling his power at once. The 2,000 kilograms weight felt overwhelming when he dragged using his power, but it still couldn't top him from moving forward. As his strong body was running along the pond stirred with loud noise. Although he was merely at the 2nd sky of Disaster Realm, his body was incomparably strong. The refined skill of the flame refined his body once again, so he could adapt to the impact of all sorts of energies and utilize his power better. As his body became much stronger using the first sky of Rampage, at that moment the energy inside Shi Yan's body equal to that of an Earth realm warrior. Beside the pool, Yang Lao, Yang Mu, Yang Meng were all surprised, gazing at Shi Yan running with all effort. This increase of energy in Shi Yan's body was apparently out of their expectation. The 3 who were in doubt were now in shock. It was very noisy here, so many Yang family warriors came from other areas hearing the noise, as they watched Shi Yan's stunning power. Shi Yan had a rigid face. His strong muscles seemed to contain endless power. Every time he dashed out, he felt inexhaustible. after he came out from the volcano's core. This was the first time that he had bursted his power so smoothly. During his running, he felt every cell in his body come to life. This was a huge shift in his body. He clearly realized what benefit he got from that long period of ruthless training. After his body was refined, his ribs and bones became much stronger, his limbs more agile, and his profound chi flew faster like a river. Now he totally trusted the ice-cold flame. Warriors in ancient times emphasized more on their body training than warrior nowadays. To them, the body was the essential basis of martial arts, so they spent more time on body training than profound chi refining. Once the body reached a certain state, it delivered overwhelming power in battles. Among warriors of the same realm, those who possessed stronger body could easily beat those with weaker body. Feeling the changes in his body, Shi Yan was so delighted that he made up his mind to refine his body as the key of his martial training. Bang, bang, bang. Like a chariot, Shi Yan dashed forward and made a big stir in the pond, while gravels flew up in the sky. He was drowning in inner happiness and already forgot his bet with Yang Lao. He merely wanted to feel the changes in his body and explore himself. "Stop!" Yang Lao yelled. Shi Yan woke up abruptly and looked at Yang Lao numbly as his muscles was still shaking. Yang Lao's eyes shone with bright light, and he nodded slowly with a surprised smile. 5 minutes! 7 loops. You are a freak. Haha, I know this guy is special. Yang Mu burst into laughters. Otherwise, great-grandpa wouldn't bother to orient his position with the immortal blood. Yang Meng blinked her adorable eyes and babbled. Another monster. Why are there so many freaks in the Yang family? Shi Yan was surprised. Yang Lao smiled briefly. Scanning those onwatching warriors, he announced, "This is a new member of Yang family. My third brother Yang, Zhao's grandson, Shi Yan. Young Master Yan. Young Master Yan. Young Master Yan." Those steady, strong-built young warriors began to cry out. These people were all at high realms and were well known in the endless sea. They obeyed the Yang family not only for their history, but also for their every generation's incredible ability. These obstinate warriors served the Yang family because of its great power. They watched for a while and acknowledged Shi Yan. At the second sky of Disaster Realm, with 2,000 kilograms weights, he could run 7 loops around the pond in merely 5 minutes. That's literally unbelievable. Shi Yan smiled. He hadn't triggered the rampage to the second sky. He believed if he pushed it to the second sky, his energy would surge twice, and thus he could run at least 10 rounds around the pond. "You win, kid. Take the 3 heaven pills." Yang Lao shook his head, smiling. "Kid, you won over me so soon." I'm not a generous person. Be careful. I will let you suffer in later training." Shi Yan gave a brief smile, and right away took the 3 pills, then grinned. "I'm not afraid of troubles. Yang blood does run in your body. You are something." Yang Lao praised with a smile, then looked away. "Now I'll get the F*** away. Got nothing to do?" Those on-watching warriors then hurriedly left in embarrassment. After those people left, Yang Lao frowned and appeared a bit worried. "Xia Xinchuan is still at our home. He would stop training if you go back. He will chase up as soon as he heard you are here." After a pause, Yang Lao gazed at him deeply. "Kid, be honest. Can you really wake the gal Xia Xinyan? Don't be afraid. It's okay even if you can't. Xia Shanchuan won't do anything, except babbling for a while. It should be fine." Shi Yan pondered and replied with a serious face. "No problem." Yang Lao couldn't believe his ears. "Are you sure? You have to know, there was once another person who got the same disease as Xia Xinyan. The 3 powers in the Kiara Sea tried everything to save her but failed. Your great-grandpa said, unless someone got a soul-related treasure that is suitable for her, or we can't do anything." Shi Yan stunned, as he realized that King Yongqing already knew he got the soul-gathering pearl. "I'm sure." Nodding his head, Shi Yan said, "I promise I will wake her up. She fell asleep because she wanted to save me. Definitely I will wake her up." Yang Lao stared at Shi Yan for a while, seeing Shi Yan as a reliable man. Then he nodded. "Okay, I will send someone for Xia Xinchuan." Soon he ordered loudly, and one warrior walked away quickly to a great mountain. "Do you need any help?" Yang Lao pondered. "There are all sorts of rare materials and medicines in the Yang family. Just name it. Even if we don't have it, we can fetch it for you soon. Your great-grandpa told us we should assist you on this." Shi Yan shook his head with a smile. "Nothing but a quiet secret room." Yang Lao was stunned. After a thought, he told Yang Mu, "Go to the know. One mountain, and find a best crystal room." "Okay." Yang Mu swaggered away. "Your great-grandpa is not at home this moment, and he took the immortal cannon with him. After he's back, you just have to drop one blood into the cannon, and then you are back home. Meanwhile, you will possess the immortal formula from the immortal cannon. Yang Lao, though, for a while. Wake up Xia Xinyan first until then." "Yeah, I know." "Yang Lao." Before long, from a nearby mountain, a dash of bright light shot out. "I heard the kid Shi Yan has come back." Xia Xinchuan's angry voice came before he even approached. A tall, thin, white-bearded old man with a feather cap suddenly stood still in front of Shi Yan, and he stared at Shi Yan, his eyes like torches. "You are Shi Yan?" Shi Yan nodded with an embarrassed smile. "Well, let me make it brief," Xia Xinchuan grunted. "If you can't wake Xinyan up, I won't spare you. But if she wakes up, I will let you go. As long as she wakes up. I will wake her up safe." Shi Yan got serious. "I bet." "You do?" "I do." Xia Xinchuan was a little surprised, as he couldn't understand why Shi Yan was so confident. However, he was expecting for it now as he nodded. "Do it then." "Second grandpa, it's all done." Yang Mu shouted, standing on a cliff. "Xiaoyan, come over now." "Let's go. Let me show you something." Yang Lao nodded with a smile, caught Shi Yan, and flew out. Aye. Chapter 207, Ancient Divine Blood. Chapter 207, Ancient Divine Blood. Inside the know, one divine mountain. Deep inside the mountain, 6 shining stone rooms showed up in front of Shi Yan. Each one of the stone rooms was made of complete crystals, containing dense divine auras which were flowing out from the crystal walls like brooks. The profound crystal. The top profound crystal. The profound crystal was divided into low grade, medium grade, high, and top grades. Top grade, profound crystals could only be found at the center of a crystal quarry. A fist-like top grade, profound crystal was quite rare in the endless sea, valuing equal to a soul-level treasure. But inside the divine mountains, the 6 stone rooms were all made of complete profound crystal. Appalling! Shi Yan's eyes were shining with marvel. He was gazing at the 6 profound crystal stone room in awe. Dense natural aura kept diffusing out from the crystal walls. Just after one smell of it, Shi Yan felt his profound qi grow heavier. OMG! Shi Yan was astounded. In the 9 divine mountains, there are 54 stone rooms made up of complete profound crystal for the Yang family members to train in. Yang Mu looked proud, giggling. The 9 mountains form a natural pattern that gathers the auras between the earth and the sky. They are the miracles of the endless sea after thousands of years of cultivation. We fought for hundreds of years and killed numerous people to obtain the 9 divine mountains. Training in the stone room for one day equals to 1 year of training outside. Yang Lao beamed. Every generation of Yang family protects the divine mountains, for they help us produce experts faster. As long as we own the 9 divine mountains, the Yang family will hold the dominant position in the endless sea. After 100 or 1,000 years, Wuyong family will still dominate the endless sea. Sure, Yen nodded slightly. To train inside a stone room made of profound crystal, one didn't need to concentrate his profound qi. Instead, all one has to do is to breathe the divine aura here, refine it, and then one's profound qi would become much denser. The profound qi he could gather in a day equaled that of a man training for 1 year. At that moment, Shi Yan finally knew why the Yang family members cultivated to the disaster and earth realms so easily. At elementary, nascent, and human realms, one's progress was directly correlated to the speed of which one can concentrate his profound qi. As long as one's profound qi was dense enough, it was easy to advance to another realm. With the unique, profound, crystal-walled stone room, Yang family warriors found it easy to break through from elementary, nascent, and human realms. They could cross over the 3 realms easily. However, common warriors needed great effort to concentrate profound qi and to train little by little for 10 or more years to reach human realm. And finally, after their consciousness was strengthened, then they could reach disaster realm. Yang family warriors cultivated 10 times faster than others. Although disaster, earth, and nirvana realms demanded a lot on one's mind and wisdom, with enough profound qi, one's consciousness could break through, which meant that after the disaster realm, Yang family warriors took great advantages in concentrating their profound qi. In the 54 stone rooms in the 9 divine mountains, 54 warriors could quickly concentrate their profound qi, and being further accompanied with all sorts of secret treasures of Yang family. Even they would find it hard to slow down their path. The 9 divine mountains are the essence of our Yang family. Yang Lao smiled. The 9 divine mountains formed a natural pattern and absorbed the auras between the sky and the earth. There is always inexhaustible auras in the stone rooms. Xiao Yan, if only you had come back years earlier, you would now be higher than the 2nd sky of Disaster Realm. Yang Mu giggled, but it's not too late. You, kid, are lucky and not too far behind. If you train hard, it will be easy for you to advance to another realm with all sorts of treasures in the Yang family. Where's Xia Xinyan? Shi Yan took a deep breath, held his mood, and then asked, frowning. Inside there. Yang Mu smiled. That gal normally wouldn't be allowed inside the room if were not for being the exception. Only direct offsprings and core ministers of the Yang family are allowed to enter the stone rooms. Xia Shanchuan was beyond the divine mountain, and he couldn't enter it either. As the master of the Xia family, he knew the law of the Yang family. The divine mountains was the forbidden area. Kid, go wake up Xia Xinyan now. Don't worry, we will deliver meals for you every day, including glossy Ganoderma, demon beast meat, and all sorts of great food, to make sure that you get enough nutrition. Yang Lao smiled. Shi Yan nodded. Then I will enter now. Go now. The stone rooms are a forbidden area for others, but to us, they are merely rooms for training. Leave everything behind you. Send messages through that pipe, and we will arrange everything for you. Yang Lao introduced. Sure, Yen felt that he was meticulously taken care of. Here, the Yang family provided him the best place for practice. He could get whatever he wanted here. All he needed to do was to concentrate on training instead of on other, trivial things. Looking at the shining stone room, Shi Yan knew why the Yang family was so powerful. Under Yang Lao and Yang Mu's gaze, Shi Yan slowly walked into one of the crystal-walled stone room. At once, the door was closed from outside. Inside the crystal-walled stone room, the auras were flowing like a river, even in the air. One could smell and see it. Without doing anything, he could feel his profound qi was increasing little by little. It really is an optimal place for practice. The stone room was not quite spacious, about 20 square meters. At its center sat a crystal stone bed on which Xia Xinyan, in white clothing, was lying on her back. There were vague life fluctuations on her body, and white light was shining on her delicate, smooth face. Long eyelashes covered her clear eyes. Inside her perfect body, wisps of profound qi were flowing in disorder. Without any consciousness, Xia Xinyan looked like a dead body, even though she was still breathing. She didn't know that Shi Yan was beside her. His consciousness silently flew into the blood vein ring. 7 days ago, he said that we could absorb the soul power in the soul, gathering pearl. Shi Yan injected his spirit into the blood vein ring. Now I have time to absorb the soul power. You said the soul power can wake her up. Tell me what to do. It's so strange here. The ice-cold flame's message rippled out from the blood vein ring slowly. Although my power is sealed by the ring, I can still feel the dense natural energy here. It is the best place for you, human warriors, to train in. You are a lucky dog. How did you find it here? None of your business. Shi Yan frowned. Tell me, what do I do to wake her up? Very simple. The ice-cold flame didn't hesitate. Just wipe away the white vein on the soul-gathering pearl. Put both your fingers on it, and then you can feel pure soul power from it. This woman has lost her consciousness, so you have to wrap the soul power with your spirit power, and then inject it into her mind, nourishing her soul. Don't worry. It is easy to absorb the pure soul power. Her remaining soul will soon gather once it is nourished by the soul power. The ice-cold flame elaborated it to Shi Yan. Then it became disappointed. I was sealed by the damn ring. I don't think I can still get my share of the soul power now. Remember our deal. You should keep my part for me. Got it. Shi Yan's mouth quivered. Oh, by the way, you can drop 1 blood drop to the soul-gathering pearl, causing the soul power delivered to the woman to have your smell. After she has gathered her soul, she will have your smell inside her. Wherever she is, you will know the exact position. It does no harm to her. Not at all. Good. Shi Yan nodded, and then nibbled his fingertip until a drop of crimson blood fell onto the soul-gathering pearl. Shining black light gushed out from the soul-gathering pearl. In an instant, the black light wrapped Shi Yan all over. Meanwhile, the water-like auras in the crystal-walled stone room gushed toward the soul-gathering pearl crazily. You're your blood. How could it be? The ice-cold flame sent a surprised message in haste. This is ancient divine blood. Chapter 208, Magic Effects of Divine Blood. Chapter 208, Magic Effects of Divine Blood. Sponsored by Fafa. Ancient Divine Blood. The message from ice-cold flame made Shi Yan stunned. He stood there at a loss of what to do for a while. In the stone chamber adorned with crystal wall, rich auras crazily swarmed into the soul-gathering pearl continuously. Gradually, the soul-gathering pearl became sparkling and crystal clear, revolving on Shi Yan's palm, a plume of visible crystal light, which could be observed with naked eye, revealed on the pearl's surface little by little. When 1/3 of auras in the stone chamber disappeared into the soul-gathering pearl, the drop of Shi Yan's blood became too weak to perceive. Not until this moment did the auras in the stone chamber stop flowing. Everything returned back to normal, except the glittering soul-gathering pearl. As so many auras went into soul-gathering pearl, it seemed wonderful changes happened on it. Its surface texture became more close-grained. What is ancient divine blood? I don't know either. Ice-cold flame delivered messages after a short silence. The extreme refining skill you practice was from a nutty blacksmith. I got the information of ancient divine blood from him as well. He obtained a page of an ancient, incomplete book. It says in ancient times there were 3 prime god kings whose blood had special effects. The blood of 3 god kings had different infinite magical effects, which was called divine blood. The blacksmith had no idea about the specific effect of their divine blood. But what he knew was once the divine blood falls into treasures and weapons, it would immediately cause mutations. A common one is driving the auras around and let them crazily get into the treasures and weapons. The descendants of the 3 god kings, as long as they have the divine blood inheritance, would have the similar magic effects. Once Soul Gathering Pearl has been refined by earth fire, the souls in it would form a pure soul power. What makes Soul Gathering Pearl loses the ability to absorb souls and becomes a container for spirit power. However, as you entered a drop of blood, the internal structure of Soul Gathering Pearl seemed quietly change after it absorbed the natural auras. Soul Gathering Pearl showed signs of reviving now. Unfortunately, your blood is not pure. Only the essential blood can be called divine blood. If the Soul Gathering Pearl absorbs the genuine divine blood, it will be able to completely recover according to its characteristics. If you refine your blood into the divine blood, you can integrate your blood into the treasures and weapons according to the ancient, incomplete book from the blacksmith. It can make any damaged treasures and weapons recover. Your divine blood can repair any treasures and weapons. Once you refine your blood into the divine blood, you can make Soul Gathering Pearl regain its ability of absorbing souls. The ice-cold flame explained slowly and instilled in Shiryan the knowledge of ancient divine blood it knew. Shiryan was dazed for a while, staring blankly at the soul-gathering pearl in his hand with a strange expression. Immortal martial spirit. The ancient divine blood should belong to immortal martial spirit, and immortal martial spirit could recover the human body. It was said when refined to the most esoteric realm, immortal martial spirit can recover the human body and come to life with merely 1 drop of essential blood. Obviously, the abnormality of the divine blood in the body was related to immortal martial spirit. But it was beyond his imagination that the blood could actually repair all the treasures and weapons and let the useless ones regain their effectiveness. This was rather a miraculous special effect. In Grace Mainland, most warriors who are born with a silver spoon have all kinds of treasures and weapons in their hands. Treasures and weapons are the lifeblood of warriors. When people engaged in battles, treasures and weapons may get damaged in bombardments and collisions, and then lose their effectiveness. Once treasures and weapons turned into junks, even the best blacksmiths can hardly get them repaired but forge new ones. When his blood was refined into essential blood, he can inject it into treasures and weapons with arcane methods, which could make them recover in a short time. The effect like this is very extraordinary. Immortal blood, immortal blood. Shiryan's eyes suddenly lighted up. He recalled that Emperor Yangqing had entered a drop of essential blood into Yanghai's body, and even after several decades he could still get Yanghai's location through that drop of immortal blood. Some time ago, Emperor Yangqing used 3 drops of immortal blood to calculate Shiryan's life and death, and then let Emo Duanhuan come to Cloud's Island to find him. Obviously, Emperor Yangqing had known how to refine the immortal blood and the magical effect of the immortal blood. Since thinking about this, Shiryan recollected himself. He glanced down at Soul Gathering Pearl and communicated with ice-cold flame. Got it. Now I begin to drive pure soul power in Soul Gathering Pearl to Xia Yinyan's soul. Well, final confirmation. There will be nothing wrong with 1 extra drop of my blood in Soul Gathering Pearl, right? Sure. Shiryan put his mind at ease finally. Looking at the beauty in the bed, Shiryan's eyes showed his sorrow. He gently helped her up and get on the stone bed at the same time, sitting cross-legged face to face with her. With Soul Gathering Pearl in one hand, Shiryan reached out the other and held her slim, cold hand, placing it on Soul Gathering Pearl. Slowly closing his eyes, Shiryan held his breath and concentrated his mind, then put a wisp of consciousness into Soul Gathering Pearl. The soul power babbled. like streams flowed gently in soul-gathering pearl. As soon as he put his consciousness into soul-gathering pearl, immediately he got a wonderful feeling, as if the soul power inside became his blood, the blood that can easily be controlled. According to the method Ice Cold Flame said, he let his consciousness lead the soul power in soul-gathering pearl and tried to pull it out of the pearl. There was no difficulty. Under the guidance of his mental consciousness, a wisp of pure soul power, like a brand new bright filament, was taken out from soul-gathering pearl without stagnation and quietly dived into the Xia Xinyan cold palm. Cheerfully, Shi Yan led this wisp of pure soul power to the brain area of Xia Xinyan's with his consciousness slowly. This wisp of soul power went along the meridian line of her arms, passed through her white, slender neck, paused for a while, and then went into her brain area. Boom! When Shi Yan's consciousness went into her brain area, Shi Yan had a quake in mind. Dimly, he felt himself fell into a soul battleground. A variety of quick and forceful soul powers suddenly emerged in large numbers from her mind sea, full of hostility, and unexpectedly appeared like want to kill the wisp of Shi Yan's consciousness. Shi Yan's facial expression did not change. He had heard of the situation, such as this, from Ice Cold Flame. He took back his consciousness from the mind sea of Xia Xinyan's with lightning-fast speed. Nevertheless, the pure soul power which led by his consciousness had easily got into Xia Xinyan's mind sea, owing to the guidance of his consciousness before. A strong soul wave came from Xia Xinyan's brain area all of a sudden. The soul wave was overwhelming with extremely violent rage, like a soul storm which can get any souls killed for a second. Calm and unhurried, Shi Yan held soul-gathering pearl tightly and opened his mind to make his consciousness into an emptying situation. At this moment, Shi Yan's soul seemed to be invisible. The soul storm from Xia Xinyan raged in the stone chamber for a while, and gradually subsided. When Shi Yan could not detect any abnormalities, he refined another wisp of spiritual consciousness into soul-gathering pearl by the same way, to bring out more soul power and bring into the Xia Xinyan's brain zone. Every time his consciousness fell into her brain zone, from her body, would immediately come the violent soul storm from her body with instinctual conflict emotions. And at this time, Shi Yan would not be fight it head-on. He would hide all the consciousness rapidly, even his own soul breath, in accordance with the method from Ice Cold Flame, until her soul counterattack disappeared. Shi Yan began to bring out more soul powers and led into her brain zone again. Shi Yan was not impatient, little by little, again and again. Gradually, he found that, along with the constant injection of the soul power, the soul counterattack from Xia Xinyan had begun to reduce by degrees. A delighted smile appeared on his face, quietly. He knew that this method from Ice Cold Flame worked. With the injection of those pure soul powers, those scattered fragments of Xia Xinyan's consciousness had been gathered slowly. Xia Xinyan seemed to have a weak self-consciousness and seemed to know her situation gradually. Feeling relieved, Shi Yan didn't dare to hesitate. He pulled out more pure soul powers into Xia Xinyan's mind sea. Time flied imperceptibly. Finally, one day, when Shi Yan took a wisp of soul power into her brain zone, but did not perceive her soul counterattacks, she did not instinctively let her soul power break out and make attacks on Shi Yan. As the soul power was taken in, Xia Xinyan's consciousness showed signs of waking up. Meanwhile, her slender white hand that put on soul-gathering pearl unexpectedly grew a weak absorption power. Shi Yan clearly felt that there was a soul power in soul-gathering pearl. It flew out initiatively and slowly toward Xia Xinyan's arm, led by something. Shi Yan suddenly opened his eyes. In front him, the beauty with rosy cheek was breathing evenly, although she still tightly knitted her eyebrows, but at least she had expressions. She subconsciously absorbed the useful power for her soul recovery. Shi Yan immediately came to this conclusion. In this way, he could rest assured, knowing that the soul power that went into Xia Xinyan's brain zone these days had begun to play its due role. Done. Ice Cold Flame sent the message over initiatively from now on. She has learned how to absorb the soul power inside soul gathering pair on her own. You don't need to guide her anymore. Well, you can finally work on your own business. Now, I will tell you how to get consciousness mutation and turn it into soul consciousness through the absorption of the soul power. Then you can gather soul consciousness to form your sea of consciousness. Shi Yan's eyes suddenly lit up. Chapter 209 formed the consciousness sea. Chapter 209 Forming the Sea of Consciousness. Sponsored by Fafa in the mountains of the Yang family. Shi Yan and Xia Xinyan were sitting cross-legged face to face. Between them, the soul-gathering pearl was sending out martial spirit. Pure power of the soul flew along their arms, next to their brains. In soul-gathering pearl, the water-like power of the soul was reducing. Time flied. Suddenly, half of a year had passed. Shi Yan held his breath as his forehead started shining. Strong soul fluctuations came from his brain and then slowly started spreading through the entire stone chamber. It's the crucial moment. According to Ice Cold Flame saying, he had been absorbing the power of the soul-gathering pearl for half a year. With the injecting power of the soul, he felt himself full of spirit power. His spiritual sensitivity could even cover a radius of 100 miles. While injecting soul power, his spirit power grew several times, not reducing in speed until today. His spirit power increased by an extreme amount. Shi Yan never stopped focusing on condensing his spirit power. He combined 1,000 strings of spirit power into one. In his brain, the spirit power was like hundreds of thousands of thin strings. Under the control of his mind, these hundreds of thousands of spirit strings combined by 1,000. On this day, the spirit power in his mind had coalesced into several hundreds of strings after reorganizing. Under his control, several hundred strings of spirit power were injected into the soul stigma. Those strong spirit power went into a sudden contraction. Shi Yan clearly saw the sudden changes of the spirit power in his brain. The spirit power was flashing. Inside it were his life experiences, drowning his mind into one part of his spirit power, secretly scrutinizing, just like watching a movie. He could find the scene of his past. The past seemed to be replayed. Those spirit power deeply imprinted in his life experience and seemed to be a microcosm of his life. In this process, his soul seemed to have sublimated, indulging in the spirit power. At one moment, lightning jumped out from the spirit power. The spirit power gradually became unclear. A strange energy fluctuation began to overflow from it. A mysterious change was happening quietly. Shi Yan suddenly felt like he owned countless eyes. He seemed to have more souls. Wonderful feelings came into the heart. Before he realized it, the spirit power suddenly combined together. In his brain, wisps of profound chi power gradually formed a sea of consciousness. The sea of consciousness. In his brain, wisps of soul consciousness combined, and then became a sea of consciousness about 1 square meter in size. He could see the little sea of consciousness and strong fluctuations in his mind. Among the sea of consciousness, his memories had deeply imprinted. Between the changes of mind, he could see every experience of his past life. As long as he wanted to see it, the sea of consciousness would become a screen, showing his past clearly. In the sea of consciousness, it has all his life as if was his soul sublimation. Gradually, his brain is no longer continued shining. Everything seemed to return to normal. Unknowingly, the soul-gathering pearl had stopped blinking and lost the soul power. The clear soul power formed by thousands of souls had went out after their absorption. Suddenly, Shi opened his eyes. When his mind blinked, the sea of consciousness formed a strange wave. The soul spirit quickly spread in all directions. Wherever the soul consciousness passed, the mountains, the grass, demon beasts, palaces, a lot of young warriors, all kinds of scenes occurred in sea of consciousness. The small sea of consciousness divided into numerous images. Each image corresponded to an outside world scene. Shi was stunned with a strange expression on his face. Such a moment of the soul release and the sea of consciousness gave him a very wonderful understanding. The soul that he released was like intangible cameras or satellites that recorded all the scenes. Everything was revealed on it like on a screen. With a weird smile, Shi was sitting on the stone bed with his eyes shining. After the formation of his sea of consciousness, the martial practice had a magical effect, going against his expectation. He knew that the Nirvana realm warriors could sense the surroundings. However, he felt that their feeling did not have such clarity. However, now he also had the sea of consciousness and soul consciousness. He was in an inexplicably happy mood. He believed that his present ability could make him God in the world where he was born. He stood still in his place, but he could still see everything miles away. That was not all. The sea of consciousness changed again, and then suddenly attacked the crystal wall. In the air, the aura of the world formed into white mist. Obviously, it was under attack by some invisible force. In the faint white mist, there was a vacuum from which a bunch of power suddenly shot out. Puff! This wave of soul consciousness impact fell on top of that crystal wall, and the crystal wall conveyed a sound of clash. A glint of happiness flashed across Shi eyes. As expected, since the soul consciousness had formed, he could now directly attack the enemy's soul. Soul consciousness was different from spirit power. Although it was invisible, it can still operate strong soul attacks. It could be soft as hair and hard as a steel needle. It had direct, destructive power to the soul. Shi sat on the stone bed with smiles, using the power of soul consciousness and sea of consciousness to gain insight into the changes again and again. Congratulations, you formed the sea of consciousness. The ice-cold flame sent the message from the ring. However, you seem to have used all the power of the soul gathering pearl. What about the share you promised me? Shi smiled bitterly. I am sorry. When I was in practice, I forgot about this. The power of souls ran out while I wasn't conscious of the fact. You said, I do not have to use much power of the soul. But why did I end up using all of it? Ice-cold flame thought for a moment. You have great potential, but you used more soul power than I imagined. You absorbed 60% of the soul power. Now, your sea of consciousness has expanded greatly. You do not only have the sea of consciousness, but also have a strong soul consciousness because you absorbed 60%. And your girl's level is higher than you. Her mind is quite strange, and since she absorbed 40%, I lost a lot. Well, you said my blood can make the soul-gathering pearl absorb souls again. Sure, Yin also felt a little embarrassed. Once the soul-gathering pearl is restored, I will continue to gather more soul power. Next time, I will share some power of the soul to you. Is that okay? Ice-cold flame was also helpless. All right, that's it. I hope you remember our agreement. That's all. Shi nodded and agreed immediately. Your woman, she's going to wake up, the ice-cold flame said. Shi felt happy and immediately stopped the communication with the ice-cold flame and then looked at Xia Xinyan. Her eyebrows slightly wrinkled as her long eyelashes slightly shook and her lips gently parted. She seemed to be waking up from the dream. Shi Yan looked focused, even a little nervous. Gradually, the soul of Xia Xinyan fluctuated and then restored smoothly, causing her delicate face to become ruddy. Even at this moment, she was still elegant with a sternly inviolable elegance. Shi Yan was looking at this beauty with soft eyes and a smiling mouth. After a long time, Xia Xinyan gently opened her eyes. Her bright eyes shone like the star, deep like the sea, while quietly staring at Shi Yan. "It's nice to see you again." Her mouth curled an elegant curvature as she said softly with a smile, "Xinyan, you are fine." Shi Yan took a deep breath. His face was rippling gentle smiles as he jumped down from the stone bed, reached out his hand, and then said, "Now walk. Carefully make sure that there is nothing wrong. Tell me if you feel something is wrong." "Ah." Xia Xinyan smiled, shook her head gently, but still obediently put her hand out to Shi Yan, letting him pull her down from the stone bed. The perfect body walked a few steps in the stone room, gracefully. With a smile on her beautiful face, she softly said, "I'm okay. I have also advanced into the second sky of Earth Realm." Shi Yan stunned at first, then immediately greeted, "Congratulations." Xia Xinyan nodded. "Our bet still works. Before you beat me, be quiet." Then she withdrew her hand held by Shi Yan. She raised her eyebrows slightly and then provoked him. "You have to work hard. If not, I will not promise you anything." "Don't worry. I won't keep you waiting." Shi Yan grinned with a confident face. "I will become better than you soon." Bragging. Xia Xinyan smiled. "Don't brag. Prove it as soon as possible." "I will." Chapter 210. You're really something. Chapter 210. You're really something. Sponsored by Terence Mykovsky. When Shi Yan and Xia Xinyan came out from the cave, many warriors from Yang family were surprised, and their faces show their excitement. The news about the relationship between Shi Yan and Xia Xinyan had already been spread out these days. Many old warriors from the Yang family knew that there is someone from the Xia family who has the same symptoms as Xia Xinyan. At that time, the head of the big 3 families in Kiara Sea who gathered their wisdom failed to wake up that Xia warrior, and resulted the warrior died in advance. After Xia Shanchuan brought Xia Xinyan to the Immortal Island, he made trouble a few times, so the warriors from Yang family all knew that Xia Xinyan, the pride from the Xia family new generation, also suffered from the same symptoms, and probably is difficult to wake up. And now, Shi Yan and Xia Xinyan came out side by side, which made everyone surprised and speechless. The problem that even can't be solved by the head from the big 3 families now was solved by Shi Yan, which no one knows what method he used to make Xia Xinyan wake up. There are huge doubts in everyone's minds, and they looked sluggish at Shi Yan. Soon, Yang Lao and Xia Xinchuan received the message and rushed over, gathering at Shi Yan's side. Xia Shanchuan couldn't believe his own eyes after staring at Xia Xinyan for a long time, his body gently trembling for a long time, and he nodded. Good. Finally you woke up." "Grandpa," Xia Xinyan smiled, said, "I'm fine, yeah. I have broken through into the second sky of Earth Realm." "What?" Xia Xinchuan shocked again and immediately used his spirit power to examine Xia Xinyan's body. Then he smiled and nodded. Good girl. I knew that you'll be showered with blessings once you escape this disaster. Ha 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 ha. Brother Xia, now you are satisfied, right? Yang Lao smiled. Now you won't force this kid to take responsibility, right? He. Ha ha ha. Xia Xinchuan smiled and nodded. His eyes looked at Shi Yan. Brat, you're really something. The problem that even your great-grandfather can't solve was solved by you. Good. Next time if our family encounters this kind of trouble again, looks like we need your help to solve it. Ha ha ha. Good. Shi Yan, stunned, shook his head and said, Don't. This time was merely luck and also my secret treasure already gone. if there is a similar situation in next time, I also can't do anything." No, you definitely can solve it," Xian Xinchuan laughed, "as long as you tell us the method. No matter what kind of secret treasure, the Xia family will re-refine it. Some of the secret treasure can't be refined out which existent was naturally." Shi Yan looks helpless. "Anyway, if there is a similar situation in the next time, don't rely on me. I also can't solve it." "You brat," Xia Xinyan glared at him. "Seems like a little angry. Why you always make an excuse?" "This time was merely luck," Shi Yan smiled. "It's not like I don't want to help. In fact, the secret treasure that I have already can't be used again." "Forget it." Xia Xinchuan waved his hand and said, The Xia family shouldn't be so unfortunate. After going back, I will tell them to don't let something like this happen again. Xinyan, you just entered the second sky of the Earth realm. So you need to return. There is some martial skill that you need to learn as soon as possible. Otherwise, it may be bad for you." His word made Shi Yan and Xia Xinyan startled. "If I have known this earlier, I would have stayed in the stone rune for some time." In the face of Xia Xinchuan, Shi Yan blinked at Xia Xinyan. "You say?" Xia Xinyan cheeks became red and dropped head down without saying anything. "Who?" Yang low poked and laughed as he looks very excited. Yang Mu, Yang Meng, and the others' Yang family were also staring at those two with a strange expression. Xia Shenchuan froze for a moment, and then his eyes were like alighting, looking at Shi Yan and Xia Xinyan. Then he suddenly calmed down. In the Kiara Sea, Xia Xinyan was famous for her eyesight. She never put anyone who was same age with her in her eyes, and in her heart there was only Xia family and cultivation. Over the years, the men who pursued Xia Xinyan were from of every corner in the Kiara Sea. Even the genius young men in the other sea also covered Xia Xinyan's beauty and often wandered to the Xia family just to get a glance of Xia Xinyan and catch her attention. However, no matter who, and no matter how outstanding he was, Xia Xinyan never thought about them. Even the leader of the new generations from the evil wonderland, Xie Kuei, admired her for many years, but there was never a slightest progress, which made him very unhappy. In the Kiara Sea, Xia Xinyan can be described as a misty cloud mountain, which can't be climbed and only can be looked up from afar by the young men. Even Yang Ku and the others from Yang family were also obsessed with Xia Xinyan for some time, but didn't receive any attention, and at last they gave up. Now, because the words from Shi Yan, the beauty face became blushed, which surprised everyone. Ahem ahem. Xia Shenchuan coughed, although he was slightly upset, but because Shi Yan helped her granddaughter to wake up, so he didn't show it and only said, "Ah, since the problem is solved, then we will leave now. Come on." "Wait a minute," Shi Yan suddenly slightly shouted. "Brat, don't push your luck," Xia Xinchuan said. "Although you save her, but don't think you can have something between you two. My granddaughter is going to inherit the chair of the head of Xia family in the future, so there will be no chance of an affair. Even if she is going to marry, the groom has to bear my family surname and the surname of baby born in the future also Xia." Xia Xinyan blushed face slowly faded, and in her eyes there is a trace of sadness and sorrow. From childhood, she was taught to don't have an affair. In the future, she was going to inherit the chair of the Xia family head. Even if she was going to have children, it will be arranged by the Xia family, and the groom needs to bear Xia surname. Because of this, she never thinks about love affair in the Kiara Sea, because she knows that her future isn't up to her to decide it. Humph. Yang Lao snorted. He was upset, but didn't say anything. Shi Yan also frowned. His eyes gradually became gloomy, and from Xia Xinyan expression, he saw the helplessness and nothing can be done about her destiny. At this time, he knew that everything he said will be ignored. Not only it won't change Xia Xinchuan's original intention, instead it will only leave a bad impression in Xia Xinchuan's heart, but also will let Xia Xinyan having a difficult time, and may even affect the long friendly relations between Xia family and Yang family. He knew that if he wants to get Xia Xinyan, There is only one way. One day he, Shi Yan, will prove his ability and can take over the Xia family. So the entire Xia family can only overlook him. After took a deep breath, Shi Yan's face became normal and lightly smiled. Then he took out 3 nutrition pills that he won from Yang Lao, stepped forward to pass it to her, softly said, "These are 3 nutrition pills. Next time if you are forced to use the reincarnation martial spirit, these nutrition pills can protect you for 3 times." Xia Xinyan was a little happy as her bright eyes moved and secretly looked at Xia Shenchuan. Xia Shenchuan looking at the sky, his mouth was slightly pulled a bit and he looked indifferent, but he didn't stop her to accept those 3 nutrition pills. In the entire Kiara Sea, only Yang family can refine this nutrition pill. Even in the Yang family, this nutrition pill was very rare. Only the direct descendants from Yang family and Shura King have the qualification to hold it. The nutrition pill have an extremely good effect on the reincarnation martial spirit, which Xia Shenchuan also knew. If replaced with another pill, maybe Xia Shenchuan will scold and stop her. However, for nutrition pill, this was difficult to do so. "Thank you." Xia Xinyan was tacit. She can glimpse an approval from Xia Shenchuan expression, and then receive it and softly thanks. "Take care." Shi Yan looked at her deeply, softly said, "Remember our promise." Xia Xinyan's face became blushed again and bowed her head, softly said, "Yes." "Let's go." Xia Shenchuan was upset again. He didn't want her granddaughter to be too close with Shi Yan, slightly snorting, and flew up as he held Xia Xinyan and then turned into a light and rushed into the clouds. "Brat, you are really something." Yang Loa smiled and patted on Shi Yan's shoulder. "If you really can get that girl, then that old ghost Xia will definitely cry with tearless grief. Ha ha ha. Good, good. You have my old style. Shao Yinzi this." Yang Mu threw a thumb as he was amazed too. Xia Xinyan, this girl in Kiara Sea. She is like a goddess. Many people covet her beauty, but she never blushed in front of anyone. "You brat, you are really great. No wonder the great-grandpa think highly of you." "Brother Yen, I support you." Yang Meng also cheered, smiled. "Sister Xia is so beautiful. She is the most beautiful scenery in our Kiara Sea. This kind of beauty should be subdued by us." Ha ha ha. Brother Ku and the others were disappointing. At that time, I also despised them. "I didn't expect that. Brother Yen is so great. You just came here and already hooked Sister Xia. You are really great." "Hooked?" Shi Yan smiled and shook his head. "You little girl, stop talking nonsense. I was using my charm to conquer her." "It was same. Anyway, the result is you guys can be together." Yang Meng laughed, and she appeared more and more like Shi Yan. The warriors from the Yang family on the side also exposed an admiring expression. When they looked at Shi Yan, as if to be able to get Xia Xinyan heart was greater than wake up Xia Xinyan by using the soul-gathering pearl. Shi Yan stunned. He didn't think that Xia Xinyan was like an inaccessible cloud mountain in Kiara Sea. The affair between him and Xia Xinyan meant that the cloud mountain already laid down a ladder to let him climb onto the peak. "Brat, follow me. I will take you to see the demon beast that your great-grandfather wanted you to tame," Yang Lao suddenly shouted. Shi Yan startled. "Ah." Chapter 211, Beast Ghost. Chapter 211, Beast Ghost. Shi Yan followed Yang Lao, heading for a valley between 2 holy mountains. When they were still some miles away, Shi Yan faintly felt a wave of ferocious and evil atmosphere from the valley. Above the valley, extremely strong demon energy and underworld dark energy came through unusual thick indigo and black clouds. The 2 totally different flavors singularly gathered together, and both seemed to be coming from the monster. Howl! As if it was aware that someone was approaching, a loud roar that can shake heaven and earth was heard from the valley all of a sudden. When the roar came out, varieties of captive demon beasts in the nearby valley prostrated on the ground in succession. They looked quite scared and didn't dare to straighten up. "What a fierce thing," Yang Lao whispered with a helpless face. "It's exhausting just to keep this demon beast." In only a year and a half, this demon beast had eaten nearly 100 demon beasts at level 3 or level 4. If we Yang family didn't have abundant financial resources, we can hardly afford to keep it. Sure, Yen was aghast. Demon beasts at level 3 or level 4 were rather precious, but this thing was able to devour so many high-level demon beasts in only 1.5 years. It could be imagined that how fierce this demon beast was. It must be not easy to deal with. Its roar made even Yang Mu's double-headed dragon hesitated and remained stagnant with apparent fear. Double-headed dragon was the demon beast of level 6. In Yen family, the demon beast at this level was already hard enough to tame. It was even fiercer than Cyan Bloodbat. In the past, a whistle from double-headed dragon would let the demon beasts in this area shiver. It was not expected that there would be a demon beast that could make double-headed dragon stop his movements. Yang Mu had to get off from double-headed dragon and gave Sure Yen a bitter smile. "Little Yen, as you can see, the thing is much harder to deal with. Alas, I really do not know what my grandpa is really thinking. Letting you to tame it really is a joke. Even I will tremble with terror when I meet that thing." Sure Yen became more surprised. "Let's go. Don't let that thing look down on us." Yang Lao sneered. "Since we, Yen family, can suppress it, we certainly have the way to deal with it. We've consumed so many resources on it. They must be paid back without doubt." Sure, Yen slightly nodded with a cool face and said, "I am really looking forward to it. Be careful with it. Otherwise, instead of taming it, you would be devoured by it." Yang Meng's little face was full of worries. "It's really not the thing to be trifled with. You must be discreet. If not so, you actually might be eaten with carelessness. I was so frightened by its strong aura as to be unable to move last time. Even I was not close to it yet." "Howl!" In the valley, the roar of the demon beast came again. It seemed to be extremely unhappy with humans approaching. Once it smelt of humans' scent, it immediately showed its ferocious energy. As long as general warriors heard its fierce roar, most of them would be tremble with terror and afraid to get close. Even Sure Yen was frowning and holding breath. He dared not let down guard. Under Yang Lao's leading, finally Sure Yen arrived at the place between the two mountains. The ground was littered with bones. The skeletons of bones were quite huge. They were obviously bones of demon beasts. In the valley, the ground was full of bones. At a glance, it was like a bone sea, heart-stirring. Crack! Treading on the bones, listening to cracking of bones, Sure Yen felt goosebumps. Strong demon energy and dark energy filled the sky above the valley. In the center of cyan dark energy and demon energy, a figure of demon beast was partly visible, bearing fangs, brandishing claws, and screaming to the sky. The black chain, as 12 arms thick, connecting with the two mountains, was winding around the body of the demon beast. Every time the demon beast swayed and struggled, violent sounds of metal collision would come out from the iron chain. Hoop, hoop, hoop. The demon beast swallowed and spat to the sky. Strong demon energy and dark energy, filled in the sky, suddenly disappeared in its body as sponge absorbed water. The faint figure suddenly revealed from the bones. Sure, Yen had a look of horror on his face. This was a huge demon beast like dragon and python. It had a 10 meters long body, non-muscle wings, and a belly full of scales. Its body was covered with ferocious arm-length black thorns, flashing with black light. Its 2 huge talons were flickering sharp lights, seemed to be capable of destroying any invincible stronghold. Its talons whacked the hard, stony ground, bombarding deep caves one by one. Every time a strike hit down, a huge boom would be heard for the valley. The most terrible thing was the demon beast's head. It was just a hideous ghost face, From its copper bell-like eyes, green light was emitted, bloodthirsty. On the general features of the devil, there were black thorns as well. They were like sharp swords stuck in its face. The demon beast, with 10 meters body, as dragon and python, had a ferocious ghost face. Even at first glance, it would make people fear from the bottom of my heart. Noticing someone was close to itself, it suddenly blustered again. A very strong, ferocious energy was spread out as a storm on its own axis. The ferocious energy was like the existent substance. Let any human's souls tremble. Every place the ferocious energy arrives at, the bones nearby would actually be exploded. Both Yang Mu and Yang Meng could not help stepping back a few steps, with eyes blinking. Sure, Yen changed countenance as well and refined soul consciousness, using the power of Sea of Consciousness to resist the ferocious energy from the demon beast. Finally, he managed to stand there and be rooted to the spot, instead stepping back with fear. Yang Lao, with a surprised face, stared at Shi Yen weirdly. Since the demon beast had been here, there were a lot of warriors from the Yang family who experienced how fierce it was. Almost every new warrior who arrived here would be frightened by it. They showed their fear, stepped back subconsciously, and dared not to look into its eyes. Both Yang Mu and Yang Meng were Earth realm warriors. But again, under the fury of the demon beast, they still couldn't help to step back. But Shi Yen was standing motionless. It was abnormal. Sure, Yen was a warrior at only Disaster Realm. What made him remain motionless under the ferocious energy and the terror gaze from the demon beast? Yang Lao couldn't figure out, and increasingly felt that the saying from Empire Yangqing had evidences. Shi Yan's Sea of Consciousness waved. The consciousness was quietly spread one after another to resist the fury with soul consciousness power. On seeing Yang Mu and Yang Meng retreat a few steps back, he secretly felt surprised but little rejoiced. He did realize that it was entirely because he successfully refined Sea of Consciousness that kept him away from fear. Sea of Consciousness had many magical effects. One of the simplest effects was leaning on the soul consciousness power and withstanding the soul shock caused by ferocious energy. Although Yang Mu and Yang Meng were Earth realm warriors, they hadn't refined the Sea of Consciousness. So when they faced to the ferocious energy from the demon beast, they couldn't defend themselves with soul consciousness. As their souls were exposed, their minds and consciousness would be frightened. That made them step backward. What the hell was that thing? Taking a deep breath, Shi Yen asked in a low voice, "Ghost beast." Yang Lao pondered for a moment and explained. It is said that it's the hybrid of the sky ghost from Underworld and the beast dragon from Demon Area. They both are demon beast at level 8. Whether in the Underworld or in the Demon Area, both of them are famous. Dark dwellers and demon dwellers can do nothing about them. This ghost beast was found at a magic place in the 4th Demon Area by your great-grandfather. It was just a cub with only several hundred years old, but it has already been a demon beast at level 6. According to your great-grandfather's saying, the ugly thing is the hybrid of 2 level 8 demon beasts with unlimited capacity of evolution. It is said that if an opportunity arrives, it can at least evolve to level 9 in the future. And with natural material and treasure, it could even become a level 10 demon beast. Shi Yen was stunned. Normally, the demon beasts that could unceasingly evolve were extremely aggressive. The ones who could evolve into level 9 demon beasts were uncommon curiosities in all worlds. And the ones that were able to evolve to level 10 demon beasts were almost heard from legends. Few people had met them. The ghost beast not only had the ability of continuous evolution, but also could become a level 9 demon beast. What's more, it had the opportunity to become the sovereign demon beast at level 10. Shi Yen had never met the demon beast at this level before, not even had heard of. No one knows how Sky Ghost from Underworld could appear in the 4th Demon Area and give birth to ghost beast with beast dragon of demon area. Yang Lao shook his head. Even your great-grandfather did not figure out how sky ghost could appear in demon area. And it is harder to know why sky ghost could mix with beast dragon. The name of beast ghost was given by your great-grandfather. It was said that the thing had never appeared in the past. It should be the rarest curiosity in the nature. Then how can we tame it? Sure, Yen murmured. Yang Lao was stupefied. He shook his head with a bitter smile. Don't ask me. I know nothing about it either. Your great-grandfather brought it back to Immortal Island and bounded it with 12 golden chains personally. He asked us to send a demon beast at level 3 or 4 to feed it every 7 days. And he said it should be you to tame beast ghost when you come to Immortal Island. Me? Sure, Yen was dumbfounded. My great-grandpa really thought too highly of me. Well, Yang Lao nodded with a strange face. All of us don't think you have the ability to tame beast ghost. But your great-grandfather said that only you would have karma with beast ghost. I don't know what basis your great-grandfather had, but he commanded that only you could be allowed to tame beast ghost. Don't understand his thoughts. Great-grandpa must be muddled. Yang Meng stuck out her tongue cutely. Brother Yen has never met it, and he has no experience. It's impossible for him to tame it. Never mind. Yang Lao thought for a while and said to Shi Yen, stay here and try to tame it. Well, do remember that do not close to it in 100 meters away. 100 meters is its physical attack range, since your great-grandfather said that he must have his own reasons. Though I have many methods to tame demon beasts, but no one is suitable for this one. Your great-grandfather also had commanded me not to show you any skills of taming demon beasts. When he finished, he departed with Yang Meng and Yang Mu, leaving Shi Yen alone to face to beast ghost in worry. Ah. Chapter 212, The Change. Chapter 212, Accident. Inside the valley, Shi Yen was facing the demon ghost alone, and had no idea what to do with it. Demon beasts, like the demon ghost, were heterosexual. It had been sealed partly by King Yangqing, so it could only attack within 100 meters. The 100 meters range was the dangerous area besides the demon ghost. Once someone get close to it, the demon ghost would attack fiercely. Shi Yen tried a lot of ways to get close to the 100-meter limit during the last 3 days. Whenever he entered the restricted area of 100 meters, this demon ghost would become violent. Its terrible flame almost destroyed Shi Yen. There was no way to communicate with the demon ghost. He also tried to release his soul consciousness. However, when his soul consciousness tried to communicate with the demon ghost, he was overwhelmed by its terrible flame. This day, Shi Yen tried to communicate with the demon ghost again. But when he began to condensate his soul consciousness, there came out an irritable, impatient aura from the demon ghost. With demon ghost as the center, a wave of fierce evil aura was released on the entire valley. The waves of fierce aura made the bones on the ground fly off towards Shi Yen like sharp swords. Fortunately, Shi Yen withdrew in time and luckily managed to escape this enormous attack. Shi Yen felt kind of slumped weakness. This ghost and demon hybrid was indeed extremely frightening. It was not only fierce, but also extremely offensive, and was always full of energy. It never rested, always staring at him. Before leaving, if Yang Lao hadn't told him that King Yangqing once said this, the demon ghost had great affinity with him, Shi Yen would have almost given up. Instead of leaving, Shi Yen chose to believe in the mysterious powers of King Yangqing and continued to find a way to communicate with the demon ghost. Time flied, and half a month passed at once. During this half-month, Shi Yen did not hurry to get close to the demon ghost and kept a safe distance from the demon ghost. He was not so anxious to get the demon ghost's recognition. In the valley, he sat down to understand the electric shift and the phantom shift. The Yang family was indeed rich and powerful. During this period, all kinds of delicious food was taken to Shi Yan constantly. Shi Yan's stomach was always filled with the food. Thousands-year ginseng, Polygonum multiflorum of hundreds of years, various demon beasts' bones and muscles were sent each and every day, which he could not have in the Shi family. The nutritional food made Shi Yan full of blood and flesh. Although Shi Yan didn't manage to succeed in taming the demon ghost, but he got enlightened in operating the electric shift after numerous trials and errors. Chu. Shi Yan's shadow shuttled in the valley like lightning. Between his two legs, profound qi exploded, providing formidable impact. Shi Yan's body was really flying like a lightning in the valley constantly. Boom, boom, boom. The explosion of profound qi in the legs derived strong impact. Under the force of impact, Shi Yan moved so quickly that one couldn't even see him by naked eyes. Huh. The noise of the double-headed dragon quietly came from outside the valley. After a while, Yang Mu came down from the double-headed dragon, laughing in front of Shi Yan. "Xiao Yan, how's it?" Shaking his head, Shi Yan said helplessly, "I couldn't find a breakthrough. It isn't an easy thing to tame the demon ghost." "That's for sure." Yang Mu nodded. "This demon ghost is so fierce, and it is a hybrid of two formidable beasts. It is a miracle between the heaven and earth. If it is so easy to rein in, we would have taken this guy long time ago." Shi Yan was not discouraged at all. "There is still time anyway. I am not in a hurry." Since great-grandfather said the demon beast, and I have something special, he must have his reasons. Great-grandfather. While mentioning King Yangqing, Yang Mu's eyes shone with a grudging smile. Shi Yan was quite sensitive, so from Yang Mu's subtle change of expression, he caught something unusual. He frowned quietly. What happened? "Ah!" Yang Mu smiled with a sigh. He wanted to say something, but he stopped. Seeing Yang Mu like this, Shi Yan got a bad feeling. Even since he knew Yang Mu, he had never saw him like this. In his eyes, Yang Mu was an arrogant person, filled with infinite confidence, as if nothing can make him worry. But now this strange Yang Mu gave Shi Yan a bad feeling immediately. "What happened?" Shi Yan said seriously, "Great-grandfather might be in trouble." Yang Mu sighed. 7 days ago, we lost contact with great-grandfather. Uncle Mo and grandfather could not contact him through the secret method. It never happened before. Our Yang family has a secret method of communicating between the two worlds. He used to lead us through that secret method. We could also report to great-grandfather about everything that happened in the Kiara Sea. But now, Shi Yan's face slightly changed. Great-grandfather has godlike powers. Since he went to talk with the Demon King, Bo Sun, by himself, he must be full of confidence. How did that happen? I don't know. Yang Mu shook his head and squeezed out a smile. Maybe we will be able to contact him soon. Ha ha, Xiao Yan, don't worry. Stay here and keep trying to tame the demon ghost. I believe you can find the solution one day and communicate with the demon ghost. Well, I just came to take a look at you, nothing else. I will go now. Yang Mu shook his hand leisurely, mounted on the double-headed dragon, and left the valley quickly. Shi Yan's heart was overshadowed as he felt something amiss, but he believed that King Yangqing had the ability to leave the demon area. Before arriving the Endless Sea, he knew this nominal great-grandfather a little through the description from Xiaohani and Xiaoxinyan. From those people, Shi Yan realized that King Yangqing was one of the most legendary men in the Endless Sea. King Yangqing's performance later also proved Shi Yan suspect. Such a powerful man must have a plan B. He would never get himself into a difficult situation. He believed that King Yangqing would be fine. Shi Yan continued to stay in the valley. He was practicing the electric shift and thinking about how to communicate with the demon ghost. Like this, another 2 months passed. Finally, Shi Yan's electricity shift got a breakthrough. After this period of penance, the profound qi between his leg became much stronger. Naturally, once Shi Yan casted out the electric shift, his speed suddenly surged, which also made Shi Yan joyful. Triggering the electric shift with all his might, Shi Yan ran at a lightning speed that was 7 times quicker than normal. He was shuttling in the valley like thunder. This day, Shi Yan thought for a long time, and finally realized he could use the electric shift in the demon ghost's taboo area. He was ready to take a risk to make sure that he can approach the demon ghost and retreat back safely. Taking a deep breath, Shi Yan slowly operated the profound qi in his body and forced it into his legs. Boom, boom, boom. From the intersections of his legs came a sudden, fierce explosion. The explosion passed through his joints as he heard sounds from his leg bones. Suddenly, a figure enshrouded in lightning moved toward the demon ghost. Prostrating on the floor, the demon ghost squinted his green eyes and perceived Shi Yan getting near him immediately. Howl! The demon ghost roared as its 10-meter-long body stood up quickly and its evil power broke out directly. Just like a wave, the fierce flame covered 100-meter area instantly. The demon ghost's huge body acted as its claw and thorns shone oddly. The dark energy and demon energy came out of it and spread directly till it covered the whole area. In the forbidden area of the demon ghost, Shi Yan sank into the mud and was enveloped by the flame of the demon ghost thoroughly. Overwhelming fierce flame, like a substance, was covering his body, which almost drowned Shi Yan. What's the matter? The ice-cold flame suddenly sent a message. This demon beast is so powerful that it can control the dark energy and demon energy. It's really awful. The ice-cold flame in the blood vein ring was aware of the awful energy, so it talked to Shi Yan on its own. Facing the oppression of the fierce flame, Shi Yan's body was like being directly imprisoned and he could not move. The flame from the demon ghost formed the soul attack and went to the Shi Yan's head directly. The sea of consciousness stirred waves, and plumes of soul consciousness were released from it. In an instant, they formed layers of soul consciousness and tried to resist the demon ghost's ferocious attacks. Shi Yan was shocked at how difficult it became to leave this area. Bravo! From inside the ring came ice-cold flame's shocked voice. This monster beast has potential. I've not seen such a great power before. How do you get this guy? Shi Yan tried hard to resist the soul attack from the demon ghost. It was very demanding. His body was going down like a mountain collapsing in the dark and demon energy. He was 50 meters away from the demon ghost. The demon ghost never attacked physically, but its fierce aura made Shi Yan shudder. He was like a leaf in a storm, and that could be destroyed any time. What? The ice-cold flame screamed again. It seemed to have found something. It shouted in a sudden surprise, "The blood vein ring released me. It wants me to help you?" The next moment, Shi Yan suddenly felt extremely cold breath gushing into the blood vein ring. Just in an instant, Shi Yan's whole body froze like an ice sculpture. The ice-cold flame's power covered his body directly. The demon ghost's ferocious attacks couldn't defeat Shi Yan under the intervene of the ice-cold flame. Shi Yan felt slightly relieved. Howl! The demon ghost moved suddenly. Accompanied by a roar, the chains came out with a loud noise. Shi Yan saw the demon ghost's huge body fell straight down to him like a dark cloud. There were dark clouds in the sky. Ah! Shi Yan's face changed, and he felt his soul locked on by the demon ghost. He had a frustrated feeling that wherever he fled, he would be killed. Chapter 213, The Ancient Gate of Heaven. Chapter 213, The Ancient Gate of Heaven. Marvelous. The ice-cold flame sent an urgent message. Be careful. Leave right now. This guy's soul has no emotions, but only relentless murder. It will ruin everything, every soul. It is not a common demonic beast. Shi Yan was stunned. Without hesitation, he triggered all his energy and moved his profound qi into his legs, initiating lightning. A flash of lightning crossed the valley. It landed 100 meters beyond the demon ghost. Howl, howl, howl. The demon ghost bellowed crazily, while its vicious green eyes were gazing at Shi Yan. It was bounded by the 12 chains, standing 20 meters away in front of Shi Yan. Thunder came from the 2 divine mountains. The 12 chains connecting them were being stretched. It was merely a level 6 demon beast, but the power was earth-shaking. Slowly breathing, Shi Yan looked calm, as he grinned to the demon ghost. Well, you are malicious enough. He hadn't thought that he will be restrained by the demon ghost as soon as he approached it. If the ice-cold flame hadn't come to his rescue, he could have been killed by the demon ghost. Failed again. This demon beast is very special. From the blood vein ring came the ice-cold flame's message. Meanwhile, the ice-cold flame's aura got weaker and weaker, and the blood vein ring restrained the ice-cold flame more. It is said that it's interbred by the dark area ghost and the demon area demon dragon. Shi Yan told the story about the demon dragon to the ice-cold flame. According to my grandpa, this demon beast shouldn't have existed, because the dark area and the demon area are not connected. This demon ghost originated magically. Bred by the dark area ghost and the demon area dragon? The ice-cold flame was surprised. Are you sure? He did say so. The ice-cold flame went silent. After a long, long time, the ice-cold flame messaged again. You've got in trouble. Shi Yan's expression changed as he asked, what does it mean? He knew although the ice-cold flame was not human being, it knew better than most experts about this world. This guy was there for who knows how many years, possessing many ancient experts' memories. It knew many secrets of the Grace mainland and also in the dark area and the demon area. It must have found something since it said so. The demon ghost's appearance means someone dangerous broke the path between the dark area and the demon area. Once the path was broken, the space shield would be unstable, and there will be a lot of cracks on the space of the Grace mainland. Which means the dark dwellers and the demon dwellers will ally to strike this world again. Shi Yan was astounded. The dark area and the demon area have been long jealous of the wealth here, which is quite rare in their worlds. Once the dark dwellers and the demon dwellers obtain what they want on the Grace mainland, they will expand quickly. Then your world will be in deep trouble. The break of the path between the dark area and the demon area is a sign, indicating their cooperation. They are going to enter the Grace mainland and start slaughter. What? Shi Yan was shocked. How old is the demon ghost? Said to be hundreds of years. Recently, are there any demon dwellers coming to this world from the connection point of the space? Yes, that's a disaster. The ice-cold flame was helpless. The path between the dark area and the demon area takes about 500 years to make crack in the space. The dark dwellers and the demon dwellers need to invest tremendously during these 500 years to stabilize the path between the dark area and the demon area, then influence the space joints in the Grace mainland. Once some demon dwellers appeared from the pace joints, and if they're even high-rank demon dwellers, then it means they come prepared. What's next then? The dark area and our world don't have space joints. The dark area and the gate of heaven of our world are single-directed. We can only enter the dark area through the gate of heaven, but the dark dwellers cannot enter the Grace mainland through the gate of heaven. It means it's hard for the dark dwellers to enter our world. However, Once the path between the dark area and the demon area is connected, the dark dwellers can enter our world through the space joints. And then someday you will find a lot of high-rank demon dwellers and dark dwellers popping up here. At that time, all the warriors in the endless sea will be the prey of the dark dwellers and the demon dwellers. Maybe in a short time, this place will be slaughtered and you won't find a single human being anymore. Why didn't the demon dwellers enter this world through the gate of heaven? God, realm demon dwellers, can't really pass the gate of heaven. There is the rule. If demon realm demon dwellers could easily enter the gate of heaven, it would become a wasteland long ago. The second and third demon area was sealed because there were true God demon dwellers who abandoned the rule of the gate of heaven. Sure, Yen was totally shocked by what he had heard. He never suspected that the demon dwellers were so terrifying. According to the ice-cold flame, the second and the third demon area demon dwellers are more vicious. So the gate of heaven was destroyed to prevent them. Who created the gate of heaven? Warriors of God realms. Warriors of God realms? Yes, in the ancient times, the demon dwellers, the dark dwellers, and other tribes in different worlds got along well with each other. The gate of heaven exists to let the tribes communicate. Since there was limited resources in every world, they needed to exchange their materials for training. In the ancient times, there was an area called the Connection Sea, where there were many gates of heaven leading to all worlds. The Connection Sea was the center of all worlds and was on the Grace mainland. However, from a certain time, all the tribes began to fight. Because of the gates of heaven, those stronger tribes could enter other worlds and slaughter the people there. The battles among the tribes were fast and easy because of the gates of heaven. Many minor tribes became extinct. The Grace mainland, the demon area, and the dark area were merely 3 worlds then. After battles of thousands of years, many tribes disappeared. Till one day, the experts of all tribes noticed that the existence of the gate of heaven was dangerous. So they set all sorts of rules to prevent battles when creating the gate of heaven. Some tribes lost a lot in the battles, so they had to destroy the gate of heaven to cut their connection with outside world. In that age, many gates of heaven disappeared, and many tribes went out of contact from us. There were a few gates of heaven later, but they were all with lots of rules. The dark area is a vicious area. Their gate of heaven prevents other tribes from invading. And the demon area is also overwhelming strong, so their gate of heaven stopped God, realm demon dwellers too. Once the gate is broken, there will be a disaster. As it knew many things related to history, the ice-cold flame told everything it knew to Shi Yan. After the ice-cold flame finished, Shi Yan realized there would be a storm in the endless sea. Shi Yan. Yang Lao showed up secretly with a serious face. After he came, he glanced the demon ghost and deeply looked at Shi Yan and said abruptly, "Stop it if you can't conquer the demon ghost in a month. Don't waste your time. I will take you to a safe place." Shi Yan's expression changed. What happened? No matter in the Kiara Sea or the Endless Sea, the Yang family was the greatest power, and the Immortal Island was their home, along with the divine mountains here. What kind of disaster it was that made the Yang family leave the Immortal Island? 3 days ago, the Demon King, Bo Sun's bone shadow, appeared in different sea areas. He said your great-grandpa was trapped under the Demon Seal Formation in the 4th demon area. Even if he has the immortal treasure, he would still be tortured to death. Yang Lao looked rigid. What? Bo Sun recovered? Sure, Yen was freaked out. The demon seal pattern was not from Demon King Bo Sun, but another demon, King Chi Yen. Bo Sun and Chi Yen became allies. Yang Lao looked worried. The demon dwellers are invading this world. Shi Yen took a deep breath and calmed himself down. The demon dwellers haven't arrived. Yang Lao shook his head. But the great powers in other sea areas are sailing toward the Kara Sea secretly now. Those survived demon dwellers found the heads of those great powers and made some agreements with them to exchange materials with this world, on the condition: slaughter the Yang family. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.